Good afternoon, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Well, we missed the Jet game yesterday. It happens. But we've hit them the last 8 weeks, so I was surprised that they gave up so many points and they didn't score. I thought at the end there, all we needed was a field goal. I mean, we were staying with 17-6. 17-9 were winners, but, San Diego doesn't normally play like that, so I was a little surprised. But we will see. Anyway, a very good week. Regardless, you're going to lose. I'm not Bernie Madoff. I can't. Okay, let's take San Diego now. We've got to be careful. So anyway, let's go through. Well, first I want to talk about there was a bank that went under, and let's talk about that. So this happened a couple of days ago. So this was a bank, Citizens Bank in Iowa. I don't know if it's every Citizens Bank or just this one in Iowa. This I'm not clear of. Although First Republic went out, this Heartland Tri-State Bank, Signature Bank, Silicon Valley. Well, anyway, so the Citizens Bank has gone out, which is another one. The FDIC took over. I don't know what that means. I mean, either they have money or they don't. The interest rates went up. They got to redo their bonds to pay the people, and good luck with that. But anyway, this just went out November 3rd. I saw it on YouTube. I watched something on YouTube, and the guy was an idiot. I do not recommend watching him. When they don't know what inflation is, it's really hard to listen to these guys because they don't know what they're talking about. So anyway, the Citizens Bank in Iowa has went out. Inflation's very high right now, which, we know that it's 20%. Gold today, I thought would be, it's not obvious. It's price fixed, heavy inflation. Gold price today, gold's down 14 at 1974. Well, on goldprice.org, it's 1967. Silver at 22.55, which is obviously a joke. I love when I get a text from somebody, let's have dinner, and you're like, who are you? Or where are you? It's just funny. Anyway, so gold is 1967. It's ready to explode. When I saw this thing yesterday, everything's collapsing, right? And the only out will be gold, as we know. People don't know, but they will start to realize that. So we will see. Now, I want to talk about my friend. I won't name him by his real name, but I'm kind of like I made a comment to him today. I tell him about gold and about the economy crashing and everything. And he doesn't, hasn't bought gold yet. So I told him I called him to tell him the bank had failed, the Citizens Bank. And okay. And I'm waiting for, it's over his head. Then he tells me, well, I'm working, and he works for a financial firm. And then he works at home. He does a second job. And when I call him, it's like he's doing me a favor. It's like, I don't even know why I call him anymore, because it's a pointless relationship. It's not even a relationship. It's a pointless friendship. But I'll call him, oh, I got 2 minutes to talk to you. And so I make a smart ass comment to him like, that's a hell of a life you got that you don't talk to anybody, that you never have, all you do is work. And so, well, I got to support my family and my wife's sick. And I go, I don't care. What are you going to do? So you're going to what? Get sick because you're working to support them because you work 2 jobs? What are you doing that for? How is that going to help? So you think making money makes a happy family? Okay. How much gold? Then I get into how much gold and silver do you have? Oh, I don't have any. So all this money you're making is worthless. You do realize that it's you have no money. You're making money, but you really don't have money. Do you understand that? And again, it's connecting the dots to realize that the dollar you're in is worthless, and then what are you going to do? I mean, that's a problem. So with that said, I says, well, I never worked like that. I had a family. I had 2 daughters. I worked a normal job. I'd lose my job once in a while because I worked contract a lot. Because all I wanted to do was make money. I didn't, I wasn't trying to work 30 years for a company and get used and abused by them. So again, I did that. So, I get no sympathy for the guy. Well, if you would just buy gold and silver, you wouldn't need to work so much. When the price goes up very, very soon, you'll be okay. But you're not smart enough to buy the gold and the silver. Like, what are you waiting for? Because in about a month and a half, when we hit January, it'll be very expensive, and it'll be gold-backed currency that the BRICS countries and Russia will have. So that's coming probably close to January, but it doesn't matter. The price of the gold will still go up. And hey, Greg and John. So I'm trying to, so the guy's working and working, but you're working for this. This is nothing. This is not real. This is fake. This is worthless. What are you doing? Why are you're working like that? So, well, yeah, I mean, we knew that going in. Their offense has problem. Well, they have offensive line problems. They got good receivers and a good running back. The play calling, I think, is a little weak. Because when you got Joshua Dobbs winning for Minnesota, you kind of wonder why Zach Wilson can't do his thing. But I noticed San Diego, they were pressuring him. So we'll see what they do against the Lions this week. But, yeah, I mean, they put a lot of pressure on him. But that's the key. If they would do that to Lamar, Lamar wouldn't do shit. Anyway, so my friend is sitting there, and, I'm trying to say, your money's worthless. You're working for nothing. You're wasting your time. If you're working for gold, that's fine. That's what I do. But if you're working just for money because you're trying to take care of your family. You're probably either you shouldn't have had 4 kids, or you should live in a cheaper neighborhood. But to always be working, I could call him Sunday afternoon. Oh, I'm working. I can call him, tonight. I'm working. Or he goes to church. But whenever I call, he doesn't really have a lot of time for me. And so I don't know why I even bother with him. He's, so I said to him, I said, you insult me by not buying gold. Do you not think I know what I'm talking about? That's the insult, right? Well, if I tell you to buy gold and you don't, that's an insult to me. And you don't insult the Godfather. So I was kind of like, okay, your gold and silver is going to be worthless. So, I mean, your gold and silver will be worth it. Your money will be worthless. Sorry, my mind's a little preoccupied. It's worthless. So at what point are you going to buy gold and silver? Or at what point are you going to hold the dollar till it goes to zero? So as I've said, I'm on the Titanic. We hit the iceberg. I'm in the lifeboat. As soon as it hits the iceberg, I'm in the lifeboat. And most people hit the iceberg are going back to their rooms and ignoring it like they're doing now. They're ignoring the problem. They're ignoring it until the ship starts sinking. And then they go, oh, there's a problem here. I'm too stupid to see it coming. I got to wait till it's on top of me. Sort of like a tidal wave, or, if there's a tornado coming. It's a tornado. It's 10 minutes away. Maybe you need to take cover now. No, I'll wait till it's at my house. Then I'll do it. So we'll see. But that's kind of the way this guy is. And I just shake my head, as Bobby would say. And I'm like, I don't. Why would you wait? What are you waiting for? Well, I don't have money. Well, you work 2 professional jobs. I mean, he's making good money, but because of inflation, it's losing value, and he's spending all he makes. And the out is gold, but he says, yeah, you keep telling me. I go, why haven't you bought it yet? And that's when I said, you're insulting me. So that's my point. I don't get when people, they can't see something coming until it's there. And I don't understand people like that. What are you waiting for? Anyway, so that was my conversation with my friend this morning, waiting to see what the hell he's up to. So, I don't know. I don't understand it. Anyway, there's nothing. I don't know what to tell. What to do with this guy. I don't like the fact he insults me. So I just, okay, what's the point of talking to him, right? And I'm really getting kind of like INFJS, where I'm like, I'm seeing that there's a girl, one of the lifeguards, and I go to her hi, and she kind of is really shy or really rude. I can't determine. Let's just say she's shy. I'll say hi, and she doesn't look at you, and appears to be shy. All the other lifeguards look at you. So she reminds me of the girl in Alabama. And so now I'm not even wasting my time with her. It's like she was there today. I see her. I don't even say hi. I just keep swimming and get up and leave. And I can see her looking at me, and I just, if you want me, come and get me. If you want to play this shy girl and make me feel uncomfortable, I've been there, done that in Alabama. I'm not doing that again. So if you want me, then come get me. And that's kind of where I'm at. But right now, so I'm ignoring it. But I've been looking at Turkey. There's two nice places there. I was just looking at one. So there's Istanbul, and then there's Antalya. And Antalya seems very nice. It's like the Turkey Mediterranean, or what do they call it? The Turkish Riviera. And I've been on the French Riviera, and this is the Turkey. So Monte Carlo is on the Riviera, the French Riviera, the Monaco Riviera, and this is just along the coast farther up in Turkey. So I got to decide where I want to go, either to Anatolia or whatchamacallit, either Anatolia or we'll do it this way, either Anatolia or Istanbul. And, I'm not sure. I think we might enjoy Anatolia more. It seems more like boats and you're on the beach and the water and there's a theme park, and where the others got more churches and mosques. And I don't want to see a mosque. I'm not religious in Istanbul. So maybe this Antalya. Now I notice there's two airports. You either fly into Istanbul or Antalya. So I'll see if there's a big price difference. If everything's the same and the hotels are the same, there's a huge exchange rate favor for the U.S., at least for now. So we'll see. Then there was this one. There was several U.S. banks hit by deposit delay Friday. So if you had U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, you didn't get your deposit on your paycheck. So you go work, and every other Friday you get paid, and you go in your bank, and there it is. It didn't happen. Now, did it happen Monday? Probably. There was a technical glitch. Maybe it's the Russians playing games. Maybe it's the banks testing. But a lot of people didn't get paid Friday, but I assume they got paid today. I mean, because the companies are sending the paychecks out. So I don't know that it's a big deal. I watched this guy, this John Williams. I do not recommend it. This guy looks like an idiot. FDIC seized another bank last night. This is John Williams. Don't watch. He doesn't know. He's terrible. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. If you ever get a chance, watch this movie, Where Eagles Dare. It's Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton, and it is a classic World War II Nazi movie. The Germans have infiltrated MI6, and they're trying to prove that they're double agents to get them out. And but Clint Eastwood's very good. Richard Burton's incredible. Too bad he's not around now where you could watch him, and it's just these older movies. But love these World War II movies. So that's what we got. So I'm going to check out, but this looks like the real place to go. Anatolia, I've been to the French Riviera. This looks very, very similar, very pretty. A lot of the go swim in the Caribbean, and I don't think there's sharks in there because it's not salt water. You just got to watch out for jellyfish. I was in the Black Sea and there was jellyfish. So you got to watch out for that. Otherwise, so that's that. So I wanted to warn you. So you can see the warning signs coming, right? The bank deposits don't happen. People don't get paid. Was that done on purpose or is it a mistake? Well, it hit 3 different banks or 4 different banks. I don't find that. The odds on that happening are real. They're not bullshit, right? So I think that that's real. I think it's done on purpose, and it's here we go, which is another case for gold and silver. If I got gold and silver, I'm not worried about it. Now I get my Social Security check either Friday or Monday. It's supposed to be Monday, but it's Veterans Day, I think. So I might actually get it on Friday. So we'll see. I got some credit cards to pay that are due on Sunday. but I got to pay them on Friday, even though it's supposed to roll to the next day. So I got two that I'm paying on, like I'll pay on Friday. So I got to, if I get the money, then I'll just pay the credit cards. If I don't, I got money in the safe. But I don't want to take it out. I don't want to put 10 grand in the bank and then the bank does that. I can't. So anyway, so that's what's happening. So be careful. I immediately, when I saw this Citizens Bank, I've heard of it. Now we were warned about Comerica Bank, which is where the Tigers play, the name of the stadium, and it's a big bank here. Was having financial troubles back in March or April when the other banks collapsed. So we'll have to see about that, but that's definitely red. That's a red flag. So I was kind of looking at it like, you know what, just maybe I need to go run and buy more silver because I'm trying to watch my money. I got to go on some vacations and just want to make sure my money lasts. So we will go from there. But and I always have the gold, which I forget, but I don't want to sell it until it hits 20, 30,000. I don't want to start selling it at 2,000. If I need to sell an ounce, I will, but I really don't want to. And anyway, so that's what's happening. So be wary of these banks are going to collapse. And it's just, so the iceberg hit, we're already in the boat, right? We got our gold and silver, we're in the boat. And the rest of the people are just standing around going, we got hit by an iceberg. Oh, well, like the boat can't sink, even if it gets hit by an iceberg. And that's really where we're at. So people aren't doing anything, but then there's going to be that realization the boat is sinking and everybody gets into the frenzy and jumps off. And that's what we're having with this whole gold over. People will get into the frenzy of, oh shit, the dollar's collapse. See, the problem is, it's like my friend who I'm telling him, do you have gold? And he's like, no, not yet. I don't have it. What are you waiting for? The boat's sinking. Why don't you have it yet? And he doesn't quite get it. Then he'll start, when it starts sinking and then he realizes it, who do you think he's going to call? Yeah, you got some of that gold I can buy? No, I don't. No, I'm not. My goal is to warn you. Your thought should be to buy, not to come to me when the shit hits the fan and, oh, Howard, I know you have gold. Let me have some. No way. You got 30,000. I'll sell you one for 30,000. But I'd rather tell you and you go buy it. Or if you can't afford 2,000 for an ounce, buy a quarter ounce, buy a tenth of an ounce, and buy some silver. I mean, that's your out. So when the panic happens, the price goes through the roof of gold and silver, and then the dollar starts going out, and then people are but the problem is there's nowhere else to go for the dollar. You can't buy Swiss francs or British pounds or euros. They're all going to collapse because they're all not backed by anything, which leads you to, where do I go? And then it gets you back to gold and silver. So I'm 5 steps ahead saying, just buy that. You cannot buy a euro. This isn't going to work. You can't buy it. So that's the big problem. Maybe we moved to Turkey. It seemed very cheap there because of their dollars imploding. And the U.S. dollar is good, but I guess when I have gold, I can buy a nice house on the Turkey Riviera for an ounce of gold. Maybe I'll do that. It's nice weather. My Russian friends can live there. So that's what you got to know, and that is That's what we're at. So I really felt like when I saw this yesterday about the banks having problems and the bank closure, I like, okay, I need to buy more. I just, and again, it's not how much is enough. It's you got to get out of dollars before they collapse. And see, the biggest problem is people don't believe it's going to collapse. It never has. It didn't collapse in 1929. It didn't collapse in 1980 and 80. It didn't collapse in 2008. We've had these problems before. Why would the dollar collapse now? Why should I run out of the dollar and go buy gold? Gold doesn't go anywhere, and the dollar never collapses. They just print more because this time you've got huge inflation to go with the huge debt. That's the problem. So you got a $35 trillion debt. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to pay it off? So you either print enough money to pay it, because this is what you owe to other people who have bought your bonds, right? So you do these bonds and then somebody buys them, and it's these other countries. So you owe them the interest on the bonds. It's $35 trillion. So you owe them interest. Let's say it's $1 trillion a year. And so how are you going to pay it? You don't have money. So you print it. Okay. And then that money you printed makes all the money worth less and less. So the million you printed is worth 800,000. And then it's worth 800 million. So it's not worth the trillion that you printed. It's worth less. And eventually it caves in. That's the difference this time. And the difference this time is you've had a monopoly on keeping gold down and keeping the dollar so you could print it and do Bernie Madoff all over the place. Well, that's ending because now you've got competition for the dollar. See, they never wanted competition. Now there's Russia, China going, we are going to do a gold-backed dollar, and we're going to compete with the dollar. So they don't want to get rid of the dollar. They just want to compete with it because they know you can't compete with it. There's no way you can compete with the dollar with versus gold. Gold wins every time because you can't print gold, right? So there's only so much gold. You can't print it. It's like my Mahomes card I keep showing you. There's only 50 of them. You can't all of a sudden make 5,000 of these. All there is 50. That's all you've got. In my bonds, there's only 100, right? So that's it. You can't print 1,000 of them. There's only 100. You can only make 100. So gold is very limited. You can't print it. You can't copy it. You can't cheat. It's as much gold as there is, and it can be a big brick, or it can be coins, or it can be those little bars. Be very careful when you get it of who you're buying from. I recommend put it this way, gold's 2,000 an ounce. If somebody's selling you an ounce for $500, run and hide because it's totally fake. Look at the color. If the color looks off, totally fake. If you're buying those little bars and the little plastic sleeves, unless it's Credit Suisse or something on it, and it's going for, so the key is it's got to go for the $2,000 that it's at. I mean, if it doesn't go for 2,000, then what are you going to do? So that's kind of where you're at with that. So be very careful. But see, the whole dollar is collapsing everywhere, right? And so with that collapse leads to a very high gold price. So not only are you getting out of the dollar, you're getting into gold. So I'm telling my friend, well, if you buy gold, you wouldn't have to work 2 jobs. You'd retire. In a very short time, the gold price will go up. Now, if you don't believe me, look what's happening with BRICS and the gold-backed ruble, and Russia and Saudi Arabia selling oil for gold. Look at that. That hasn't happened before. It's always been the petrodollar, and it's always been the reserve currency, which really doesn't mean anything. So everybody had to trade in their currency to dollars to yen, or dollars to euro, or dollars to British pounds. You couldn't just take a Swiss franc and buy a British pound. You had to buy dollars, which they're making a commission on. The whole thing's fixed. I don't know why they even agreed to it and why they stayed on it. But once we went off the gold standard, every dollar printed in every country has been worthless. Yeah, it says 100 on it, but it doesn't buy. Gold was 35 an ounce. Now it's 2,000. So it takes $2,000 to buy the same ounce. So how do you tell me dollar hasn't lost value? And that's suppressed. If it's real and it's free market gold, it's 20,000. Now you really get a picture of how bad the dollar's gone down. When it was 35 an ounce to now it's 20,000 an ounce. Let's say that's it. That shows you how much the dollar's deteriorated. But they don't want to show you that because it shows they fucked up. We already know they fucked up, but most people don't. And that's why they don't want to teach this and people to know about gold. They keep the price of gold down so you're not into, oh, well, why would I buy it? It doesn't do anything. So people are very clueless about this whole synopsis, which is ridiculous. Understand what a market is. It's what people, if I want to sell something, is there a buyer? And that's why gold will always have a value. There always will be a gold buyer. Right. There's always a buyer for gold because it is limited and it does hold its value. What's the latest news on what? I just gave you the latest finance news. The bank's crashing, the inflation's high, the inflation's high, the economy's crashing, the banks are going out, and the dollar's going out. So that's the latest news. What else? All right. So just be careful. We all know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, and that's the popular question. When does this happen? When are we going out? When? And again, it's, it's like asking, you're on the Titanic, when are we sinking? When are we sinking? In a couple hours, everybody. But if you ask the question before you hit the iceberg, how would you answer it? Right? Well, right after we hit the iceberg, when are we going to hit it? Well, I don't know. Soon. So that's what you have. But if you have the gold and silver, you're prepared for it. So when the banks crash and you can't get the money out, don't worry about it. My money's in the safe. So the only one I'm worried about is getting my Social Security so I can pay my rent and my normal food and gas and stuff like that. The rest of it, giving the girls. So anyway, so we know what's happening. You can't just keep printing and printing and printing without any problems. It's just like the mortgage crisis. You keep giving out loans to people that can't pay them back. Eventually, you're going to raise the adjustable rates, and eventually they won't be able to pay them back, and eventually the bonds that you're selling collapse, which is what happened. And that's what it is. So I see this Michael Berry guy, Batman from that movie, is shorting the stock market. Well, okay, what are you going to get? Okay, it crumbles. We know it's going to crumble, but you're in the wrong area. Why are you shorting the market? It goes to zero. Now what? but you have dollars. You haven't addressed the problem. The problem is getting out of this. This is the problem. You must get out of this. That's why if you're in an annuity, you're fucked. If you're in the stock market, you're fucked. You're always in this. That's why you must be in a real asset, because the house will go to zero and get revalued in gold. That's what these chuckleheads aren't quite understanding. They think it'll be a barter system, which again, I bartered. I gave paper for this. That's a barter, So I don't. It'll be nothing different than what's happening. So this is a scam. Some girl wants to go to dinners in New York. I never heard of her. Like, seriously. Everything's a scam nowadays. All right, so we know, the banks are going to collapse. That's why you don't keep money in the bank. So if you're at Citizens Bank now and you had 100 grand, what are you going to do? Go there today and say, "Oh, can I have my 100 grand?" And the answer is going to be, "No, we don't have your money. The bank failed. We used your money to do things, but we don't have any money. The bank failed." And you're out your 100 grand. And that's the problem with it. You don't want to be out the 100 grand. So if you have the money pulled out and into gold or a little bit in your safe, see, you're prepared for it. So you go on a Titanic and you say, "That's my lifeboat. If we sink, I'm in that lifeboat. And if we don't sink, fine, then I'm on the boat." And that's what people don't understand. It's like, well, if the economy doesn't fail and everything keeps going, well, then you got gold, which can't go down in value. But you got to understand it's the paper gold price. So if you understand it's a paper gold price, not a real gold price, and it's in paper, or you think, well, it's the government, they'll never get rid of the paper gold. That's why I introduced you to Mark McGuire and Alligator and Egon, because they say, no, look what Russia's doing. It's going to break up the paper gold. And then you go, well, if the paper gold's gone and we get to a physical price, it's got to be much higher. I'll buy it. And that's kind of what you have to understand. And as I said, at worst case scenario, you've got 100 grand in gold. It doesn't do anything. We wait. It's been a year. It still doesn't do anything. Okay, I can sell the gold back. But I know the dollar's losing value because they're printing it. They say they're printing it. We got to pay for the debt. And eventually they're going to print it and nobody's going to want it, which is getting very, very close. And with the gold, that'll kill it. So anyway, that's the key to it. So if you keep your money, if you just ignore me and you keep, like my friend, and you keep your money in paper and the paper collapses, you're not, in other words, you should be near the lifeboat. We've hit the iceberg. And you're going, well, no, but it won't sink. It can't sink. It doesn't matter. And so I'm going to stay on the boat and ignore the fact we hit the iceberg and water's coming in. And that's what this guy's doing. And he works all the time. And I go, what's the point of working all the time? Unless you put it into gold, as soon as the dollar crashes, you'll have nothing. And I'm like tired. I said, I'm tired of being insulted by you. If you're this stupid, I don't know how you have your jobs. I'm giving you the goose that lays the golden eggs, gold, and you don't want them. And I'm like, what do you do with this type of idiot? All right. So let me know if there's any other economic questions. like I said, if I go to Turkey, there's a nice exchange rate. I'll get and they can't raise the price. So let's go to the market. So let's say they serve a nice chicken meal or veal or whatever they have in Turkey. They can't make it $50 America because nobody can afford it because the Turkey people aren't very wealthy. So therefore, again, probably the government taxing them and keeping them poor. Governments are really good at that, unfortunately. I'm wondering why there is governments, because I don't see any benefit that they ever have done or ever will do, except take us to war and get people killed and get people broke. So when I go there, the market dictates here it's $50 for this chicken or a steak, but there they can't charge it because nobody can afford it. So they keep things at $10, $5 and $10 US for a nice steak there. So you really take advantage of it. Housing, I'm sure, is very cheap there. As hotels, we'll say how much they are, but again, this should be a very nice vacation, but not very expensive. Just judging by things are cheap there. All right. So with that said, I think this Russia war is going to be over because now we've turned our attention to another war, to Israel. And I think this war was started, just like, remember, the Nazis started World War II, putting on Czechoslovakian uniforms and shooting at Germans, saying, look, the Czechs are shooting at us. Now we're going to war. And it wasn't the Czechs. It was the Nazis were the ones in the Czech uniform. And I think the same thing happened in Ukraine. And I think the same thing happened here, where it's all staged. This way we can end the Russia war without egg on our face saying, oops, we're wrong. We shouldn't have done it. That's why we've been silent on it. Like, it's Ukraine and Russia. Russia's invading Ukraine. Like, really? Okay. So hopefully that war ends, and then I can finally go to Russia. But I don't mind. This Turkey trip sounds nice. And then and then there'll be the Israeli war, which will be a total screw up, and we'll see what happens. But this whole Middle East thing is crazy. And but I think that ends the Ukraine-Russia game a year and a half too long. All right, let's go to the NFL. We went through the stats yesterday. What was this final, like 27-6? So we open with the Bears, 3.5 over Charlotte, or Carolina. On Thursday night, the Bears are 3.5, 39.5. You got Young for Carolina, Vince Young, and you've got the grocery clerk for Chicago at this point. We'll see if Fields plays, but right now it's the grocery clerk. What a matchup. Only in the NFL. We've got Indy 1.5, 43.5 against New England in, I don't know, Frankfurt, Munich, one of the German cities. Minshew against Jones. We've got Baltimore 637.5 against Cleveland. Watson against Lamar. And it's, you're trying to figure this one out. Why isn't Lamar? He's the greatest scorer. Why isn't he like 30-point favorites over everybody? Who can even play him? I mean, he's so much better. This would be in Watson's terrible this year. Lamar, I don't know. Again, if San Diego would blitz him the way they did last night, it'd be all over. Cincinnati 6.5, 48 over Houston. This line seems low. Joe Burrow against C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud throws for yards, but not touchdowns. Last week was the exception, but I don't see him lighting up Cincinnati. I don't see Burrow losing for a long time. They have to keep winning, and they're behind Baltimore. They're not going to let up. The Niners, 3-45.5 against Jacksonville. Purdy against Trevor Lawrence on a 3-game losing streak. Look out there. I think I can finally get revenge on Jacksonville costing me against Pittsburgh. I think Frisco's guys will be more healthy. They probably just got tired. They had that big game with Dallas, and then losing to Cleveland, the guy misses the field goal. They should have won that. Losing the next week was a joke, and then losing to Cincinnati, you can understand it's Joe Burrow. He can beat anybody. So that's okay. Losing to Cleveland was the guy can't miss the kick. And then what was it the week before? Losing at Minnesota was so they got unlucky. Now if they played Minnesota, Kirk Cousins isn't the quarterback. But they were still ridiculous losing to Minnesota. So I'll look for a big effort by the Niners. They've lost 3 in a row. They're getting to the point like, okay, can we play like the Niners, Purdy, McCaffrey? Jacksonville, we'll see. I don't have my numbers in yet. I haven't put them in yet. I've done the math. I just haven't went on the sheet. That's trouble. I get up, I go swim, and then so I do everything like after. New Orleans 2.5 and 41. Strange number. Watching the Minnesota game against Atlanta, Joshua Dobbs does not look very good at all. Most of the time, you couldn't find a receiver, and he ran. I don't know what that is. He ran for a touchdown. He ran around for the 2-point conversion. He's not really, very good. That's why Pittsburgh cut him. That's why Tennessee cut him. That's why Arizona didn't sign him. Tune's there. He's okay when he can run around, but he really isn't very good. So, I really like New Orleans here. Carr against Dobbs. New Orleans is much better here. Pitt, 337.5. I know people I'm hearing don't like Pickett, but I think he looks a lot better. Yeah, Pickett before was no good, but in that Ram, all I can point to is that Rams game, all these back shoulder throws, and he looked like a regular quarterback. And then he won last week over Tennessee. I don't have any problem taking him. Green Bay, Love is terrible. So I see the score 20-3 Green Bay, and I go, oh, Love must have lit it up. He didn't do shit. He couldn't get it in, so they kicked some field goals. And then whatchamacallit, Rippon, the L.A. quarterback, instead of Stetson Bennett, fumbles, and they get it close, and they score a touchdown. Otherwise, it was nothing. They didn't, Love didn't look good at all. And here he's got Green Bay at Pitt. This is all Pitt. This line's 3. I got the line Pitt -7. This is 3, and I don't understand it. Pickett might be not great, but Love's terrible. Tampa Bay 1.5, 38.5. That line's there. Levis against Mayfield. I think maybe Tannehill gets in. Again, it's a little too early to really see. I love Tennessee here, getting 7.5. Tampa Bay, Mayfield, he played okay, but that was against Houston, right? They beat that was 39-38 with Houston. That's why I love Burrow. They're giving up 38 to Mayfield. Burrow's going to eat them alive. Oh, my God. Atlanta 1.5, 43 to Arizona. Riddler or Heineke. Let's assume Heineke. Looks okay. Tune. What are you going to get with Tune? This is another terrible. This is a joke. This line 1.5. Well, Detroit still 1.5, 48.5 against San Diego after we just watched San Diego demolish my Jets. They are a home dog to, okay, Kansas City, I get it. Baltimore, maybe I get. San Francisco, of course. Cincinnati, okay. Detroit, oh my God. I mean, that's your free play right there. San Diego is a home dog to Detroit. It's as sure as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. You've got to be kidding me. How can they possibly be a home dog to the Lions? So, I mean, look what they did on the Jets. They played well. Now they're going to be home. They're going to win the game outright, but you got 7.5. This is the dream. This is what I wait for, is a bad favorite against a strong dog. This spread, San Diego, I have -7. And we've got Detroit -1.5. These people are all brainwashed. They all think the Lions are good because they beat Carolina and they beat Atlanta and they beat Tampa and they beat Oakland. And they go, wow, look how good they are. Look who they're not really diving into who they're beating. They're not beating a high school team. This is like Michigan. They beat nobody. You can't say they're good because they haven't. Who did they beat that's any good that you can say they're good? How Michigan's ranked number 3 in the country is a joke. You can't be ranked 3 if you didn't play anybody. Detroit hasn't played anybody. They played 2 good teams, Seattle and Baltimore, and lost both. And Kansas City was week 1, and Kelsey got hurt, and they really don't have receivers. And KC's not as good as they've been there's no receiver help. So they're struggling a little bit offensively, KC, and their best defensive player was out. So it's a hard week 1 to say, and they won it 21-20 on a bad holding call. So you can't really say. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you got a very strong San Diego. They must win the game. Detroit doesn't have to win. They're in first place. San Diego has to win. They showed it last night, and Detroit's not going to San Diego and winning. And I think Denver comes to Detroit because we went to Kansas City. This is a joke. This line, totally wrong. Dallas 16.5, 38.5, up from 15.5. Well, Jones is out, and the other guy hurt his ribs, Tyrod Taylor. So you got Danny DeVito and whoever the backup is. So I could see where this is probably an under game because I don't think I think the Giants get shut out with Danny DeVito, but Dallas should have a good day. But so they win 27-0, but you're laying 16 points, even 10.5. So they win 17-7 and you don't cover. It's a big number in the NFL because they're not really trying to get points. Anyway, so I just hate the hard numbers, but I believe that the Giants, if they got Danny DeVito against Micah Parsons, they're not scoring. Seattle 6-45 against Washington. Smith against Howell. Washington's been having trouble guarding their quarterback. Seattle. All right, Seattle just got crushed by Baltimore. We understand we had them. It's a loss. However, in this case, Coach Pete, after a loss, is going to be upset. It becomes a matchup. Are my receivers playing? I think they are. We'll have to see. They didn't play well. Baltimore put a lot of pressure on them. Will Washington? I don't know. So we'll have to think about this one. My Jets, 1.5, 36.5 to Oakland. I love the line went down because they lost to San Diego. Wilson against O'Connell. This has got to be an under just because the Jets just don't score and they have the killer defense, and Oakland doesn't score and doesn't really have a good defense. So the Jets in 4.5, the Jets under. That's crazy. And then the Monday night game, Buffalo 7.5, 47 to Denver. And I like Denver a lot in this game. Wilson against Allen. So let's go. That's your line. Let's go through it. So Thursday night, so Carolina's got to travel to Chicago. Big deal. The grocery clerk, we'll see who's quarterbacking. We'll know tomorrow. Against Steve Young, who sucks. 28 defense, 27 defense. How can the Bears be favored over anybody? And how do you take Carolina as a dog? I mean, this is just Z against Z. This is just a terrible, terrible matchup. I don't even know if you can go over or under. I mean, you're going to bet on the grocery clerk or you're going to bet on Vince Young. I mean, it's just terrible. Now we go to Germany Sunday morning. Indy 1.5, 43.5. Minshew against Jones. Indy's an over team. New England just sucks. I got to put in my numbers, so I can't really – I shouldn't make these comments yet until I see some of the teams I know, but just I know where they'll be. Cincinnati 6.5, 47.5. Stroud against Burrow. Since they need everything because they fell down so far, but with Burrow, you can't stop them. Houston won't stop them. You got to take Cincy even. I mean, Jesus. It's like Seattle. They lost, but you had to take them as a 12-point dog. Same thing here. You got to take Cincy. If Burrow loses, Burrow loses. Okay, fine. Burrow lost. But you got to bet them. And again, unless we're Madoff, we've got to bet before the game starts. New Orleans, 2.5, 41. Carr against Dobbs, who doesn't know his teammates. He's not very good. Once you watch the replay, he didn't win the game for Minnesota. So I mean, I like New Orleans. I mean, because it's just I don't mind Carr, and I got Kamara back. And what does Minnesota give you? Their running back's out. They don't have a good running back anyway. Jefferson's out. They're beating bad teams. All right, who did they beat last week? They beat Atlanta, I think. See, that's the thing. The league's so bad. They beat Atlanta. They beat Frisco. We give them credit for that. And then they beat Green Bay. So, again, Green Bay and Atlanta, they suck. And here they got New Orleans. And New Orleans is the best team in the thing. I think they beat Carolina. It's a lot like the Lions. They're playing the AFC South, which suck. So it makes Minnesota look better than they are. Dobbs ain't going to be – was not going to win these games. So New Orleans just makes sense. Pitt at Green Bay. Pitt should be a 7-point favorite, 3.5 or 337. Love against Pickett. Pickett's much better than Love. Love's not good, but Pickett's looking better. It's at Pitt, and I don't see Green Bay at all. All right, they beat the Bears, and they got lucky last week with the win against who did the Green Bay beat? The Rams with the third string quarter. Not even Stenson Benson. They beat Rippon, who's terrible. Anyway, so Pitt's playing Pickett's much better. The Rams beat Rippon, big freaking deal. Or Green Bay beat Rippon, who look like shit. So game's at Pitt. Pitt wins this, no problem. Tampa Bay, Tennessee. Levis or Tannehill against the Baker. Tampa 1.5. You get 7.5 in Tennessee. I'm happy with Levis or Tannehill. Mayfield, okay. Again, I think Tennessee's a good dog. Frisco 3.45.5. Purdy against Lawrence off of losing 3 in a row. When does the best team in the league? This is like Alabama losing 3 in a row. It just doesn't happen. They got unlucky that they had. That's why I say you're back when you lose. But if you got Cincinnati coming, if Alabama's got Georgia coming, there's no revenge. There's no they have to win. It's not going to happen. They need Vanderbilt. They need the weak team. Frisco, how good is Jacksonville? Look out for this pass rush. Look for McCaffrey to play well. Kittle. They don't have Deebo Samuel. They got Ayuk, and I'm not really worried. They bring the defense. You get 3 with Frisco. I would like a little bit, but that's right what the line is. How good is Jacksonville? They keep winning these ridiculous games against Indy and Houston. They beat Buffalo in London. They've been in London twice. So it's really a screwed up. I don't like they stayed the week in London. I thought that was unfair. I got to take the Niners, and they've lost 3 in a row. They're really going to lose 4 in a row. So I just find that really hard to believe they're going to lose it. You get 3 and the Niners. At worst case, they lose by a field goal and it's a push. Ain't no way Jacksonville's blown out the Niners off of 3 losses. Now, I don't like the Niners coach. I think he's a terrible coach. He has leads and he doesn't understand to run the clock and everything else. I think he's very stupid, but I don't know what Jacksonville, if they're even a good defense. I got to look at my stats, but if we look at them, I don't think they played last week. So look at them. They beat Pitt 20-10. Pickett gets hurt. So they're a 21 defense. So maybe they're a 20 defense now. Against Indy and Houston, does that mean anything? Buffalo win doesn't count because it was bullshit with them staying in London. I have to see how they fare against a good defense. We saw them in the playoffs. San Diego had them murdered 27-0 with that pressure defense, which I'm sure the Niners are well aware of. And then they lost to Kansas City with the Mahomes. So Purdy, so they should have lost to San Diego, did lose to Kansas City in the playoffs with a pretty good defense, and now they got the best defense in the Niners. So I'll take the Niners +3 on a 3-game losing streak. Yeah, I mean, all right, Cleveland was a fluke. The Minnesota game, you can't see. That's the one you can't explain. Losing to Minnesota, not putting pressure on Cousins, I can't explain it. Losing to Joe Burrow, I understand. Nobody's beaten Joe Burrow. losing to Cleveland, pretty good defense. It was windy, but the kid misses a field. He makes the field goal, they win. The kid misses another field goal, go back to Michigan. They got to play Ohio State in a few weeks. Go kick there. You're not ready for pros. So I got to like the Niners after 3 losses. You can't be mad at the Niners. Well, I had Cincinnati in a lock last week anyway, or 2 weeks ago. So I won with them. But again, you can't. You've got to play Joe Burrow, play Mahomes. You got to play the Niners. All right, Baltimore, 6, 37.5. Watson against Lamar. It's not even close here. Lamar is much better. The game's at home. The way Baltimore's been playing, I don't know. Cleveland's not that weak, but what did they do on Sunday? Like my mind's gone. 27-0. Yeah, they played Arizona with Clayton Tune. So, okay, that doesn't mean anything. Let's look at them the week before. Cleveland beat or lost to Seattle. They lost 24-20 on a late Seattle touchdown. So this could be close, but Baltimore even with the great Lamar. How can we not take Lamar? What do I got here? So I don't love it, but I think let's see how good it is. But they did kill my Seattle team, so I got to give them a little bit of respect there. Atlanta 1.5 over Arizona. Again, Heineke against Tune. Not a big Heineke fan. Atlanta, hard to take as a road favorite. Tune is terrible. Now, I noticed that Kyler Murray was questionable now with the knee. The question is, they've won 1 game. Are they going to put him in now and risk injury for nothing? I mean, they're clearly one of the worst teams in the league. So are you going to put him in, or are you just going to say, you know what, we're not going to play you the rest of the year. Heal your knee. There's no point in getting in there. So we will see what they do. But if it's soon, you got to, as bad as Atlanta is in this situation, you got to take them. I mean, they're not a good team, period. They're okay. I don't like Bijan Robinson. He had a bad fumble. He's carrying the ball out. He doesn't look that like you wasted a number 1 pick on this guy. He doesn't look – when you get a number 1 running back, it's Barry Sanders, right? It's Emmitt Smith. You can just see the way they run. It's instinct. I don't see it from B.J. Robinson. I certainly don't see it by the Lions' wasted pick. And just like I talk about the Lions' wasted pick on Williams, the receiver, he can't even catch the ball. Okay, you want a real fast guy, you can take him in the 7th round from Texas Tech. He'll be there. And you'll have a real fast guy, or go to TCU or Baylor or any of the Pac-10 schools, Oregon, Washington, USC. Just take one of their receivers. Look at the guy from USC is on Minnesota, and he's breaking into the lineup, and he's making big plays. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He goes out, he makes the catch. It's not like he needs to learn how to catch. So the Lions do it again. They waste the number 1 pick on another receiver. Let's see, Charles Rogers, Roy Williams. Yeah, they really know how to pick receivers in the first round, a position you should never draft in the first round. Anyway, so Atlanta, well, if it's Tune, it's almost an under, because there's no way Tune's going to light up Atlanta, and Heineke ain't going to light up Arizona. Or if you think he's really going to light it up, take the 4.5, which is probably good too. Detroit, San Diego, we talked about. Why Detroit's favorite, I have no idea. Goff against Herbert, 48.5. You got to be kidding me. This is like this is what you dream of when you bet sports. This is what you dream of. I'm giving you a gift. Merry Christmas. Free pick. San Diego plus 7.5. Just go down the list. Alabama, Georgia, Florida State. Take them with Baltimore. Take them with Cincinnati. Just Let's see. I got San Diego San Diego here. I mean, this is the game you put in 5-6 teasers. I mean, this is what you wait for. You've got the better team getting points at home to a weak team. Detroit's not a very strong team. Again, look at the Baltimore game, look at the Seattle game. They are strong against Oakland, Carolina, Green Bay, and Atlanta. Not exactly very good teams. So they beat the shitty teams without quarterbacks, Carolina, Atlanta, and Oakland. And now you got Herbert. And you think they're going to play the same way against Herbert that they played against Garoppolo, if he even played, or whoever Oakland, O'Connell or whatever, or DeVito. You think they're going to play the same with them as Herbert? Come on. Dallas 16.5, 39. DeVito against Prescott. Jones is out. And as far as I can see, so is Tyrod Taylor with the rib. So you got Danny DeVito against Micah Parsons. That's the matchup. Now, who do you want to bet on in that matchup? You think Danny DeVito is going to outsmart Micah Parsons? He played at Syracuse. He was okay. He wasn't. I think it was Bowling Green to Syracuse. It's not like he's Caleb Williams or Bo Nix or Rising or Hartman. I mean, this guy is like, who is he? What does he do? This is the problem with the Giants. Daniel Jones should never have been a number 1 draft pick. He's a backup at best. He's not even a quarterback. He wants to run. But he's so stupid, he doesn't even want to slide. I'm not going to slide. I'm going to run. Almost like he wanted to get hurt because he got the big paycheck and now it's guaranteed. And he just goes and says, I just made $60 million and now I hurt my knee. Oh, who cares? I sucked anyway as a quarterback. All I could do was run around. I really am not that good. So that's what I see going on here. DeVito, it's no chance. It's just, do you go under 45 or do you got to cut Dallas to 10.5, which I hate in the NFL. Well, he wasn't any good anyway. I don't know why he even played on the team. I don't even know why he made the team. This is the problem when you have a bad GM and a bad coach like the Oakland Raiders. The owner doesn't. It's like a Keynesian running the money supply. He doesn't know what he's doing. You should buy gold. No. I'm okay with this. Well, no, really, you should have gold. No. And that's what you got running these teams. Mark Davis at Oakland. What does he fucking know? Al Davis knew how to win, right? The kid doesn't know anything. So he doesn't know who to hire. Well, they're in over there. It's just like talking to people about gold and they don't buy it because they don't understand it. And yes, they are clueless, but they don't even try. I mean, if I'm the GM of a football team or the president, right, I know what I want. So I'm going to go hire the coach from Washington, who was at Fresno State. And I go, you're going to be my coach. You can draft Penix. We're going to run the Washington offense and defense. We're going to grab the guy from Oregon. I'm going to say, okay, you can draft Bo Nix. We're going to run Oregon's offense and defense. Or I'm going to grab the Georgia defensive coordinator. I want the Georgia defense here. I see what works. That's what I'm going to use. It's not that hard. You just put the right person who understands it. I'm in the gold, so we're buying gold. And if you're not going to buy gold from me, from my company, I'm firing you because I know that's the prudent move is to buy gold. So if you're not going to buy it, I don't need you as my CFO or my controller or my finance manager, but I'm not going to hire one that won't buy gold. Okay, we're going to buy gold. Are you an Austrian or a Keynesian? So I asked him that question up front. If he says Keynesian, I said, thank you, goodbye, until I find an Austrian, if I can find one. And that's the guy that the plan is we're going to buy a bunch of gold. Well, when you've got Daniel Jones and you've got Vince Young and you got the grocery clerk, even if you have Fields, these people don't know what they're doing. Why would you draft Fields? Name an Ohio State quarterback that's ever done anything in the league. Why would you draft grocery clerk? Why is he your backup? Why are we in a situation where I got a grocery clerk as the backup? Why? How did I get into this situation? Who's the brain who brought him into the city? Raiders hired Josh McDaniel, and I heard the players hated him. Even if they didn't hate him, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. He's never been a head coach. See, what kills me is these guys that come in and they've never been a head coach. They're just coordinators. So it's like you've got to understand two things. One, the dollar's losing value. I got to get out, and two, I got to get into gold. So you got to understand both facets. We hit an iceberg, we're going to sink. And the problem is you bring in this offensive coordinator, he doesn't know how to coach a team. He's okay with offense. What does he know about defense? And so you see these teams, the Raiders don't have a good defense. What's the most critical thing if I took over a team tomorrow is I'm going to have a Georgia defense. That's the first priority on my list. An Iowa defense, a Georgia defense, an Oregon defense, a San Francisco defense. That's why I'm on the Jets so much, because they went and got a Niner, and they were running a Niner defense. They had the Green Bay offense. They had the perfect thing. That was very smart GAing. I'm going to get Aaron Rodgers and the Packer offense with the Niner defense. You know, how many Super Bowls are we going to win? And that's the thing. I hope Aaron Rodgers can come back. They're playing for Aaron Rodgers. If he comes back, they'll be in the playoffs. They've already given credit. They beat Buffalo and Philadelphia with Zach Wilson. So in my mind, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the loss yesterday. Seattle very rarely blows out a team. Like I say, you bet on them or you bet against them, and you win. So it's just a fluke. I didn't see the game. I was watching that movie, my war movie. It's like I found it on YouTube, free with commercials. I'm like, wow, it might make me spend the $10 a month to buy YouTube, because I won't buy it out of spite because they're just flooding all these commercials. I watched one of the pro games. In 8 minutes, there was 4 commercial breaks. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And some of them are like 15-second breaks, and you can't 5-second click off of them. So you lose your thought process totally. Well, what was I just watching 25, 30 seconds ago? Anyway, well, I don't even know if the players care about anything anymore. They're just in it for the money. When they start making business decisions on my team, they can find another team. If you're not going to tackle because you don't want to get hurt, you can go play for the Raiders. You're not going to play on my team. And I'm not running the rugby play of Philadelphia. Streamers have a ton of ads. Okay, so that was that. Washington, Seattle. Seattle 6-45. Howell versus Geno Smith. Seattle's never as good as they should be. There's no reason for them to get killed by Baltimore. Washington with Howell. They got a weak defense. Howell, I don't know. He's inconsistent. Seattle should win. Seattle should win this game at home, but they're really not a strong home team, which is surprising. You think they are. They used to be, but now they're not a really strong home team. So I got to read up on that. My Jets, 1.5, 37, pick of the devil against Oakland. Wilson against O'Connell. I don't understand Zach Wilson. He like at this point, he should be doing something. The Jets should kill Oakland here. Just with the defense, they should sack O'Connell 5 times, pick him a couple times. I noticed the Jets kick a lot of field goals. They get close. He can't read the blitz. He gets sacked. I mean, it's just pathetic, this Wilson. He was very good at BYU. This is an example. He's playing for he's in a different system in college, and they didn't teach him how to read a blitz. So there you go. Again, I love the Jets getting 4.5 from Oakland. This is more betting against Oakland. And then last but not least, Denver, Buffalo. Buffalo 7.5, 47. Wilson against Allen, and they are playing lights out. They just crushed Denver 24-7 or 9 or something. I would not be surprised if Denver wins the game. I would not take Buffalo -1. I would take Denver in 13. I don't even know if I'd go over because Denver's got this stronger defense. The defense is getting better. And again, they're skewed by the 70 points. So let's make it a college game. Let's take 50 points off. And they gave up 20. But they just played KC twice and they didn't give up. What, they lost 19-8 and they beat them 24-7. So they're not giving up 20 points to Ian Mahomes. They're not going to give it up to anybody. Josh Allen, we know he chokes. Denver can easily win this game. This is a live dog, Denver. So that's my pros. I've got to fill in the slots. Now in college, I got everything filled in. So we've got 2 games tonight, or 3 games tonight. We got the MAC Tuesday and the MAC Wednesday. It's hysterical what the fuck they're doing with these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday game. Like, we need a rest. I don't watch anything today or tomorrow. I need a rest. So much on Saturday. And then you got Sunday, and then the Sunday night game you had to watch. Tonight, I probably won't watch. Oh, no, that was Monday. So now we're on Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. So let's see. We got Ball State, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, 9.5, 43.5. Ball State's the Z team. Northern Illinois is the under team. We really need to look at that. When I get done, we're going to look at the schedule, the standings. So it looks like Northern Illinois betting against the Z team should be a good play. We got Western and Central. Western 3.5, 57.5, up from 56. Western's an over team. Central's an E. This is a rivalry game, Western and Central. 2 terrible defenses. I would think this is a good overplay. Central can score, but both defenses are terrible. Western's an over team, and Central, and they'll score 24-25. They've been to Notre Dame. They played them 41-17. They weren't terrible with them. So I think this is a good over here tonight. 57-51, yeah. Both teams are terrible defenses. And Ohio, 7.5, 43.5 to Buffalo. Buffalo didn't score that much last week. I was surprised. Ohio is an under team. We've been betting under a lot. Very strong defense. 16 defense against Buffalo with the more of an over team, give up 29. So kind of a weak favorite in Ohio, right? Where the they're laying 7. Do you take Buffalo at home in 13 against the tough defense? I don't know. Have to look into it. We'll have to check injuries. Bowling Green, Kent State. Bowling Green, 8.5, 40.5. Bowling Green's an under team. Kent is the Z team. They just lost to Akron last week, I think. Or was the other way around? Kent and Akron, yeah. Akron won 31-27. So they can't even beat Akron. Bowling Green should be a good play here. 25 even. Kent's just as terrible. Their coach went to Colorado, and he's probably regretting that move. Bowling Green's an under 25. So they don't score a lot, but Kent's terrible against the 33 defense. It's at Kent. Wednesday, we'll see. Here's Akron against Miami. Miami, 17.5, 40. It's down to 40. It was 43. Now it's 40. Miami, Gabbert's out, but apparently their backup must be okay. What did Miami, did they play last week? Yeah, I don't think they played last week. I don't see them. So anyway, with the quarterback out, Akron's a Z team. Yeah, they got to win against the other Z team, against Kent. Miami at home, 17-40. So it shows you the quarterback out. Miami, the strong defense, a 19. Akron, a Z team, so they got a 29 defense. I don't know. Hard to play Miami here because of the quarterback. So we gotta look at the quarterback. And then last but not least, we've got Toledo 18.5, 46.5 against Eastern. Toledo's an A team. They're the best team. They beat Miami of Ohio. Eastern 23. Eastern's an under team with the 23 defense. They probably score 19, 20. They're kind of a low scoring. Toledo, I think Toledo probably kills them here, clinches the division, whatever. Louisville, 20.5, 50.5. This is Thursday. Louisville's the 18. Virginia's a W. They did beat North Carolina recently. But Louisville's, then they're at home. They've been shutting out everybody. Virginia with the 32 defense. I think Louisville crushes them. They're playing strong. They want to get into the bowl. They are, I think, are undefeated. They beat Notre Dame and Duke, and now they got Virginia. And they're laying, so you 20 down to 14. They should hammer them on a Thursday night in Louisville. They're playing very well there. Lou Lafayette, 10.5, 52.5 to Southern Miss. Southern Miss a W. You give up 36. Lou Lafayette's an over team that gives up 28. I would think this is an over. I think you could probably bet Lou Lafayette. Let's check the quarterback. But you got an over team playing a 36 defense. It's heaven. That's what you want. They'll score and score and score, and there's not a lot Southern Miss. But Lou Lafayette does have a 28 defense. What did Southern Miss do last week? I like looking back at last week because I'm looking like that. They beat Lou Monroe 24-7. And Lou Monroe had a 33 defense, and they only got 24 on them. So with that said, Lou Lafayette doesn't have a great defense. They're a 28 defense. The over-under is 52, only 46. I'm not sure that Lou Laf doesn't get you the whole 46 by themselves. I think you can take Lou Laf and you could go over on it. And then we get to Friday's games, 2 games, and then we'll check the max stuff. We got SMU 16.5, 67.5. Over team in North Texas, an A team with Southern Miss. This is an over game. SMU's can light it up. North Texas will light it up, even though it's a 16 defense. As I'm doing this more and more and more, what I'm learning is the 16 defense works good against an under team or the Z team. But when you got a strong offense like a North Texas, having the 16 defense, I don't think they're going to stop them that much. I prefer SMU going against the 37 defense. They should light it up. But I think this is an over game here, SMU, North Texas. And last but not least, until we get to Sunday, is UNLV 5.5, 51.5. This has gone from 3.5 to 4.5 to 5.5. 51 has stayed. Wyoming's decent, but better at home. They're 25 defense. Vegas is a very strong over team, also with the 25 defense. This looks like an over all over it. Vegas scores a lot. The 25 defense is Peasley's Wyoming's quarterback doesn't look terrible. I mean, he's doing all right. So that's Tuesday through Friday. Let's look at the standings. So for standings, we got to go to Yahoo Sports for standings. And we probably want to be in, well, let's quickly do the pros because I called it up. But so if we see important games, Miami 6-3, Buffalo 5-4, the Jets 4-4, so they both need it. Baltimore is 7-2. This is really interesting. Pitt, Cleveland, and Cincy are 5-3. So as good as Cincy's playing, I don't even know if they lost to Cleveland. They've lost to Baltimore, and I don't think they played Pitt yet, or they did. Maybe they won. I think they played them early. They're not even in. They're like tied for second, a game and a half behind Baltimore. So Cincy they all must win. Cincy, Cleveland, and Pitt. Interesting. Although Baltimore does not need it. Jacksonville 6-2, Houston at 4-4, Indy at 4-5. I'm shocked they've won so many games. And KC 7-2, San Diego 4-4. So they're 2.5 back. They must win Monday against the Detroit Lions. Oakland. How is Oakland 4-5 and Denver 3-5? But watch, Denver will get the 10 wins before Oakland. Let's look at the NFC. We got Philly at 8-1, and there's nobody close. They're 8-1. Dallas is 5-3. So Dallas must win this game against the Danny DeVitos. We've got Detroit at 6-2, Minnie 5-4. Minnie plays them twice. They ain't going to beat them with Joshua Dobbs. So that's where the Lions get lucky. They go with Joshua Dobbs, and the Lions play that type of quarterback very well. Green Bay sucks. Chicago sucks. New Orleans 5-4, Atlanta 4-5, Tampa 3-5. How Carolina won a game, they played Houston. And then we got the Niners and the Seattle at 5-3. The Rams are 3-6. Arizona 1-8, and they beat Dallas. I mean, that's Prescott for you. So it's pretty shitty league. And here we have Caleb Williams crying because he lost to Washington. What's he going to do this week when they lose to Oregon? He'll be bawling his eyes out. And he's got to be kidding. You don't have a defense. You've been made off. You're a good quarterback. He's using you for the quarterback. He gets points, but he doesn't have a defense. All right, so let's go to the MAC. Let's go to the MAC. In the MAC, we got an East and we got a West. In the East, Miami of Ohio, 4-1. Ohio, 3-2. Bowling Green, 3-2. Buffalo, 3-2. But that's deceiving because they're 3-6 overall, so they probably played Akron and Kent. Kent's the worst at 0-5. So we've got, let's see, Ball State, they're in the West. CMU, that's the other one, and Ohio Buffalo. So Ohio 3-2, Buffalo 3-2, but Ohio's 6-3, and Buffalo's 3-6 overall. So Ohio's much the better. So Ohio's 7-1 looks like a good play. We get to the other league. Toledo is 5-0, 8-1. They're the best team. Then you got Central Michigan 3-2, Northern Illinois 3-2, Eastern and Western at 2-3, Michigan's, and Ball State at 1-4. So Ball State, clearly a terrible team, and they're a Z team. So let's see, Ball State, Northern Illinois 3-2. Toledo's 5-0. And so Northern must win this game and pray Toledo loses 2 or maybe 3 if they've already beat them. And then Ball State is a terrible team. So, yeah, they're the Z team. So look for Northern Illinois in a must-win there. Central and Western. Central 3-2, 5-4. Western 2-3, 3-6. Western can score. Central, I'd say this is over. Both teams are pretty bad, but probably a lot of points. Bowling Green and Kent. Bowling Green 3-2. Kent 0-5, 1-8. Basically the worst team in pro football. I don't even think Arizona Cardinals could beat them. Kent, the Golden Flashes 0-5, 1-8. Bowling Green. Yeah, Bowling Green's just one game back. Look for them to play a good game here. And Kent's defense is so, yeah, Bowling Green, I like this. 8.5 down to 2.5. That's a good play. They have to have the game. Ohio has to have the game because they're one game back of Miami and their quarterback's out. So they're using the backup. So Ohio against Buffalo. Well, that's kind of like both teams need the game. Both teams are 3-2. I like Bowling Green over Kent much, much better. That's probably a good play. Let's see. Akron, Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio. Akron's terrible, 1-4, 2-7, and the one win was against Kent. And Miami of Ohio, 4-1, 7-2. After laying 17, I got to see how good their backup quarterback is, but Akron sucks. And then EMU, Toledo, the best team. EMU 2-3, 4-5. So Toledo probably wants to wrap it up. So look for them to kick Eastern's ass. Eastern gives up 23. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So that's when you go. That gives you a good look at the standings. Like we can see that the Niners have to win. Well, they had to win anyway because they lost 3 in a row. But look at Cincinnati, 5-3. They're not even in second place yet. They got Cleveland and Pitt at 5-3. And Baltimore is like 7-2. So Baltimore gets their bye soon. They're still a game and a half back, and they're tied. They're not even in second place, so they got to keep winning. What a strong division that one is. All right, let's go to. Let's go to injuries. So Akron, we know Irons, the quarterback's out for the year. We got that. We knew it's been a while. So Akron plays Miami of Ohio. Got Arizona State's beaten up. A lot of questionables, a lot of outs. Ball State, pretty healthy. A wide receivers out. Bowling Green, a running back's questionable. Yeah, so Bowling Green's pretty healthy. So they're probably the best play in the MAC here. The Bowling Greeners. Buffalo. Bunch of questionables. 2 wide receivers out. That could be hurting them. CMU, nothing. A defensive back, questionable, which is good for the over. Late night. Riley Leonard at Duke is out indefinitely with a toe. So he had the high ankle sprain. Now he hurt his toe. And Irving Berlin the fourth is the backup quarterback's questionable with an upper body. So Duke's a great under now because they don't have a quarterback in the killer defense. Eastern Michigan, A. Smith, the quarterback, is questionable. I didn't know A. Smith was their starter. We'll have to check that out. But he's questionable. But again, it's on Wednesday and it's already Tuesday. So he doesn't get that time to rest. Florida State's got 4 wide receivers questionable for their big game with Miami. Fresno State. Georgia's. Where am I going here? Northern Illinois. Kent State. Quarterback Alamo is questionable Wednesday with an undisclosed. He hurt his undisclosed. Can't afford an injury anyway. Oh, this makes this Bowling Green game look even better. I think Alamo is their starting quarterback, I think. That name sounds familiar. Devin Leary, Kentucky quarterback, questionable with an eye. Never heard of that before, an eye. Jalen Daniels, LSU. They play Florida. Quarterback is questionable with concussion. I thought he broke his jaw. The guy hit him in his jaw. How the hell is that a concussion? Am I missing something? Anyway, or maybe when he landed, the guy buried him. The guy should have been thrown out for Alabama. I was disgusted by that. I mean, I want to see a good hit just like that, but just keep it clean. But yeah, LSU's in trouble if Daniels can't play. 2 quarterbacks are out. Another cornerback's out and a safety. So they got 3 cornerbacks and a safety out. And they play Florida. It's a 63. Well, we need Daniels to go over. It's a good over if he plays, but right now, let's wait and see. Memphis quarterback Hennigan is questionable. Too bad Miami's coach can't get injured and play without him. Miami of Ohio, Gabbert, we know, is out for the season with his leg. That's the only injury. And so we got to see who their backup quarterback is because they should kill Akron with a normal quarterback. Michigan, questionable wide receiver and running backs out. Nothing major. Old Mississippi State, Will Rogers is still questionable with an arm. I don't think he even played last week. I don't understand it. Either he broke his arm or he didn't break his arm, or maybe it's a tendon. But why are you calling him questionable? He's obviously not playing. Missouri, pretty healthy. Well, there's better players in college. The NFL has its moments with Mahomes or something like that, but it's different. Better coaching, I think. Except for at Miami. I got high school kids can coach better than that guy. New Mexico State. Northern Illinois. Wide receiver questionable, is it? Northwestern, their quarterback still questionable. Notre Dame, they're pretty healthy, except for their offensive coordinators is as bad as Miami's. Ohio, Cliff Harris, their quarterback, is out for the season in September. So he's not. So they're very healthy. Oak State, 3 wide receivers questionable. Bray's their good one. Oregon's healthy. Oregon State's healthy. Penn State, that's the big game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questionables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outs. And of the outs, a couple of wide receivers. And a couple more wide receivers are questionable. So this is what's killing Penn State. It might be an under game, just because I don't know how Penn State's going to throw the ball without these receivers. Rice Daniels, their quarterback's questionable with a concussion. We got to wait on him too. They're playing much better. He's a good quarterback, but is he going to play or not? But Rice is, I think they got an over game coming up. Yeah, with UTSA, they got an over, provided the quarterback. So we got a quarterback questionable for Rice. We got a quarterback questionable for LSU. That's why you must look at the injuries. Sam Houston. Bradley's the quarterback that's been hurt for South Alabama, and that's hurting them. He's their starter. Questionable with the knee, so you got to wait for him. More South Alabama. All right. USC, a couple of wide receivers, a bunch of questionables. SMU, their quarterback is questionable. Geez, with the head. What happened in that game last week with SMU and Rice? SMU plays, they play Friday, don't they? See, it's funny is they're a 67 and their quarterback is questionable with the head. And they're laying 17. If the quarterback's not playing, we're taking North Texas in 23 in a heartbeat. And it probably won't go over because they'll probably run the ball, but North Texas is so explosive. So, interesting. A lot of questionables. TCU, quarterbacks out. UTEP cares. Texas Tech. Texas Tech I care about because I They're playing my Kansas team. Kansas 3.5, 60 against Texas Tech. And they got a tight end. They got a DL out. They got a tight end out, an O lineman out, a linebacker out. Their starting quarterback's been out for a while, and a linebacker. So they've got two linebackers and a DL out, and an OL out for my Kansas team. It's at Kansas. Kansas is smoking hot right now. UTSA, Toledo, Troy. So Toledo's healthy. Troy's okay. Tulane, I don't know what happened to them last week. UCLA. Moore and Garbers, the quarterbacks are questionable. I think Garbers was playing a little bit. And so they're not 100% with their quarterback and their receivers. Who's UCLA got? Well, they got somebody, I think. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, they got Arizona State, 17-45, and they got both their quarterbacks questionable. We'll have to see later in the week. Lou Lafayette, their two quarterbacks are out. Their third quarterback's out. So Chris has been, so they're down to their fourth quarterback. Lou Lafayette against Southern Miss. This is why you look at injury. Otherwise, I love Lou Lafayette. And then you got Chris, their other quarterbacks out. Woolridge is already their starter out. So now you get into they're not going to score much. Southern Miss is terrible with the 36 defense. So this is the problem. Vegas' quarterback's questionable too. Jesus Christ. Everybody's quarterback's questionable. Utah, I'm waiting for Cam Rising to be listed as starting now. Out, tight end out, Cam out. What a joke that is, huh? Virginia Musket, their new quarterback's questionable with the foot. Boy, if he can't go, I really love Louisville. Interesting. They finally found a decent quarterback, and he's questionable. That's the problem. You bring in the backup. He looks good, then he gets hurt. Some teams just don't have any luck. Tech, Wake, Washington, very healthy. Washington State, very healthy. West Virginia. Now, West Virginia, I'm going to be betting against them. I think I have Oak State. Oklahoma, West Virginia. Oklahoma needs the game after their two losses to get back into the race and row. So we can make a lot of money betting on Oklahoma, San Francisco 49er, both teams off of a bunch of losses. Teaser here, right? West Virginia, wide receiver questionable, O-lineman questionable, two linebackers out, three linebackers out, and a safety out. Yeah, so they're in trouble. Yeah. Go Oklahoma, beat Navy. Western teams. The whole team's got the flu. Wyoming's healthy. So my buddy gave me back a text. All right, so I'm out of water. I guess Veterans Day is Monday, I think. But I think the banks are open with some of them. Wonder what gold will do before the holidays. It always kind of fucks around on the holidays because you're out not paying attention. That's when they do it. They try to be sneaky. You think college football is better than NFL for gambling? Well, I think the reason the NFL is so bad is for gambling. How the hell you can pick it? I went 7-2 and had a great week. I lost the Jet game last night. I lost the fucking Seattle game. Everything else I won. And yeah, I mean, some of the how do you pick Green Bay and the Rams and look at the quarterbacks? I guess I don't I guess what the problem is the lack of players in the pros. And they're trying to keep it no injuries, and yet 10 quarterbacks are out because it's mostly these running quarterbacks. I mean, if we look at the NFL, I mean, we can go down the list. Young in the grocery clerk, Fields, runner. Minshew, Richardson, out, runner. Jones, okay. Stroud and Burrow. Carr and Dobbs. Kirk Cousins, not a runner. Love and Pickett, that's just bad drafting. Levis and for Tannehill, runner. And Mayfield, no. Purdy, no. Lawrence, no. Well, more Lawrence runs a little. Deshaun Watson, Lamar. Heineke's in just because Riddler stinks. Tune's in because Murray got hurt running, and then they let Dobbs go. It's funny how they were saying how good Dobbs is, and it's like Arizona, just let him go because he sucked. They won one game with him. So I don't get the Dobbs love, but that's because Kyler Murray run, Goff and Herbert. DeVito, Jones, all Jones does at New York is run. Prescott broke his ankle a few years back. He doesn't run. Howell against Smith. You've got Howell just stinks, and Smith. Then we got Zach Wilson because Aaron Rodgers did not run. O'Connell because Garoppolo runs, and then Russell Allen. Allen runs way too much. He's got his shoulder banged up, but even so, he runs too much. So as far as the gambling aspect, I think what I see is all these analytics and algorithms, and people are relying on them instead of doing their homework. I figure things out that you can't put in an algorithm or an analytics. I know I've had talks with other people who wanted to try to put an algorithm in for pro football. And I says, you can't. There's too many variables. You can put something out. One guy was like all excited. Oh, look, it went 10-2 this week with the algorithms or whatever he was showing me. I says, you can't. Okay, you want to run a math formula. How do you do it with Joshua Dobbs now at Minnesota? How do you run an algorithm there or an analytics or whatever the fuck kind of math formula you want to run? And you want to rely on it. You just want to put the formula in, boom, boom, boom. I'm betting on this team. And I think that's what's happening way too much. Look at the Kansas game. Kansas, I love them. They beat Oklahoma. They're getting 1.5 from Iowa State. The line goes to 2.5. Who the fuck would bet on them? Would bet on Iowa State laying 1.5 to make it go to 2.5? Nobody in their right mind. And that's what they got. They got these guys who aren't in their right mind betting, who are using these algorithms. That's why the coaches, I got to go on 4th and 1. I'm supposed to go. Look at the algorithm. I mean, it's all so stupid. And I think that's what we're running into. I think this whole AI thing is the same thing. It's just being lazy. It'll never work. Electric cars will never work. They don't get the fundamental, like, you're printing too much money, it's losing value. Buy gold. You see how I kind of walked from A to B to C, right? If you do this is going to happen. But I needed logic to figure that out. I needed to think of it think it and figure it out. You can't put it in a program. You can't put it in a formula. So you can't formula football betting. It cannot be. It's an art, first of all, not a science, which means it's a feel game. I can feel Kansas over Iowa State last week. I felt Kansas to beat Oklahoma. They did. Then I'm thinking, shit, they're not going to let down. I figure I'm laying 7, I'll lay 1, and then the spread's getting 1.5 from Iowa State. Okay, Texas I could understand. Even Kansas State I could understand. Fucking Iowa State, you making them. So that's a feel. You can't do that with a mathematical formula. There's no fucking way. You'd have to do so many different formulas and so put in so many different variables. In the pros, I mean, okay, so now we got the grocery clerk in against Vince Young, Carolina, Chicago. How do you analyze that? You got the grocery clerk. How can you possibly put a variable in for a grocery clerk? Division II, he's never played. How do you plug that into your little computer and into your little formula? Then you've got, then you got Danny DeVito against Prescott. How do you put that into your formula? You can't. Danny DeVito's never played. What are you going to put in? So then it becomes a feel thing. Do I feel Dallas is going to beat the Giants by 50 points? Well, it doesn't happen in the pros that often. Dallas just lost to Philly, which I knew. And if you watch the end of that game and they're getting all the penalties, you still never felt like Dallas was going to pull it off. You never felt Dak Prescott was going to win you the game. That's my problem with Dak Prescott. He looks good, but when the crunch time, when it's win the game, he ain't showing up. Mahomes shows up. Burrow shows up. Even Herbert shows up. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, they show up. Prescott doesn't show up. There was never any hope that he was going to win it. He goes back, he gets sacked. There's all these bullshit penalties. Oh, the defensive back touched the receiver, therefore it's illegal. It's going to be pass interference. We know the pass wasn't even thrown his way. We're still going to give him the penalty. Oh yeah, and they just try to penalize him to make the game close. They think it's a drama, and I've heard you guys say WWF. I'm not sure you're far off from that. I think they don't do the outcome, but we're going to get you all these penalties. So you have to put the figure 4 on the guy. So that's the gambling aspect. The lines are terrible. They move too much. But look who you're betting on. You're betting on Josh Love. You're betting on Levis. You're betting on Trevor Lawrence, Heineke and Toon, Danny DeVito, Thurston Howell, and Zach Wilson and O'Connell. I mean, how do you bet this shit, right? Oh, we bet the Jets yesterday. Where did they go? We bet on Seattle. They didn't even show up against Baltimore, but then we bet on the Philly-Dallas over. We get there. We bet on Joe Burrow. We win. See, I like to bet on Joe Burrow. I like to bet. So my bets, I went on Mahomes. I went on Joe Burrow this week. And then I lost Seattle. I don't know how to Lamar with Geno Smith. That doesn't make sense. And all my receivers played, so it really doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's what happens. And then, you've got all these terrible players. The problem is this is like betting preseason. Very inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from the players. It's just not a real easy thing to bet. I agree. College is easier because I got Caleb Williams. I know I'm going to get 50 points. I got Penix. I got Bo Nix. I've got Hartman. Well, Hartman's not helping. Ohio State, I pretty much know. Michigan, I pretty much know. Georgia, I pretty much know. Alabama, they're going to make us sweat a while. But so that's really the key. Is you're right. But I think it's with the COVID. They're like these guys shouldn't be 6 years in college. Penix and Bo Nix and these guys. These guys should be 4. They sit as a freshman and they play the next couple of years, and maybe they leave as a junior. They play their junior year and leave, and that's really what you should have. But you don't have that. You have, but Bo Nix, he's a 6-year guy. Hartman, look at Rising, 6 years. He can come back and redshirt if he wants to. I don't know. Do you want to play 7 years in college? I mean, how much is he going to have left for pros? And he's so good. So he's just been unfortunate with the injuries. I know last year he got hurt versus USC, missed that game against Oregon State with the injury. That's probably what's still keeping him out is probably he had the initial injury. Then he got hurt in the Rose Bowl. So he probably had already an injury in there and another injury. The part that's the problem is the coach keeps saying, well, the doctor said he might play, instead of really addressing what's going on, that no, he's out. It's not good. But we're not getting that side of the story. So we don't really know what's going on. Well, if he was ready to go for Florida, why is he out for the year now? So anyway, we'll go through the college lines tomorrow. I got to update my pro stuff and walk through college. So anyway, tonight we got Ball State, Northern Illinois 9-43. They are healthy. Western and Central, 2 terrible defenses, a 30-33, and it's a 57. That I like over. Ohio, Buffalo. Ohio is 7-44. They're the under team. Buffalo is the E team with the terrible defense. So Ohio, it should be probably a low-scoring game. Ohio's been playing that. Buffalo is kind of explosive, but not that explosive. I think Ohio can win. And tomorrow we got Bowling Green, Kent. Bowling Green looks like a good play there. Akron and Miami. We got to check Miami's quarterback out. He's questionable. And then you got Toledo and Eastern, and Toledo's the A team, and Eastern's the E. Akron's the Z team. Kent's the Z team. Ball State's the Z team. They all score 16, 17, and give up in the 30. Well, Ball gives up 28. Kent gives up 33. Akron gives up 30. So you pretty much know they can't stop the wind. They couldn't stop a good high school team. So that's your MAC tonight and tomorrow. So I don't know. You got 3 MAC games tonight and 3 on tomorrow. I'd be pretty pissed off if I was these MAC people. What do I want to go to a football game on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night? I mean, okay, granted, the one in Toledo, okay, Miami of Ohio. The game's at Kent. I don't know. Is Kent in Ohio? Central and Western. I can go catch that game. I mean, who the fuck's going to the Central Western game on a Tuesday night at 7:30? You got to be kidding me. So anyway, it's just diluted. It's too much. It's too much. Who's bothering me now? Quit bothering me, these people. It's really just too much. I mean, because you just watched Monday Night Football. I barely watched the game last night. I just checked some scores. I saw it was 17-6. I go, well, 17-9's a winner. I'm getting 9.5. But I wasn't gonna. I'll watch the 20-minute or 15-minute on YouTube. But basically, now there's 3 games tonight and 3 games tomorrow. Do I have to block this person? Stop irritating me. some guy from Japan. Go, oh, what the fuck you got my number for? How does that happen? Is that a accident or on purpose? You got my number, and you're hammering me with. They're in New York. They want to go to dinner with some girl. I was like, fucking leave me alone. Anyway, that's the problem. So 3 games tonight. When do you study? And then you got 3 games tomorrow on Wednesday and 2 on Thursday and 2 on Friday. And the pro game. What are you doing with Carolina and Chicago on TV? What is that? This is the problem. Well, everybody's got to play on Thursday. Well, then put Chicago against Detroit or something, or put Chicago, Minnesota. You don't put Chicago, Carolina. What did you think? Vince Young would be good, or the grocery clerk, or Fields? Well, you're going to have Fields and Young, and you're going to try to say, oh, look at the good quarterbacks playing in this game. Anyway, I don't understand it. Again, there's so many bad teams in the NFL now. And even if you're a good team like the Giants, you got Danny DeVito. Washington, you got Thurston Howell. You got Clayton Tune at Arizona and Henneke at Atlanta. Henneke couldn't stay on Washington. They go to Howell. Mayfield, okay. You got Love against Pickett, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh. Oh, my God. What are they thinking? Drafting Love is one thing. He sucks. And yet they'll still play him. Now, are they going to get rid of him after this year? Are they going to realize he sucks? Well, no, maybe he'll get better. We'll give him another couple years to see if he gets better. And that's my point. It's like the wide receiver in the Lions, this Williams guy, he can't catch. But then you see the guy from from USC, from Pittsburgh to USC to the Vikings, he's making great catches. Jefferson and Chase, they came right in. Not a problem. They look like stars the first time they took the field. You shouldn't have to develop a number 1 draft pick. That's why you draft them number 1. You develop a number 6 or 7th round draft pick. He's terrible. And you wasted 2 Philadelphia defensive players on a defense that sucks, that still sucks. And don't just sit there and discount the Lamar game. Okay, so when they get killed by San Diego, are we going to discount that game too? Well, it's a one-offer. It's another one-offer. Let's see, we play a good team, we get killed. It's a one-offer. Oh, we play Oakland and Carolina and we play Atlanta. Yeah, that's look how good we are. Give me a break. And these people, so who benefits? I got Detroit laying 1.5 to San Diego. I win. I got San Diego in 7.5. I can't. I'm going to have to bet gold on this game. This is insane. This is the best. This is the best line I've ever seen in my life. Wow. Let me check my injuries first. Make sure nobody got hurt last night. Let's see, San Diego. Yeah, everybody's fine. No injury. Okay, perfect. So back up the truck and unload it on San Diego. It's pretty damn close with the Jets Oakland. I got another steal of the century. The Niners, probably Pittsburgh, Cincinnati over Houston. Are you kidding? They're not going to lose to Houston. When Joe Burrow is ready and he wants to win, they're not losing. Because they got such a dynamic offense and he kind of slides around. There's always guys, he just boom, bing, bong, boom. They march down the field and he's so cool under pressure. So he ain't losing to Houston. I mean, this is going to be a huge weekend. I can see it. It's just lining up. Cincinnati, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, the Niners, Lamar, even the San Diego, the Jets, Denver. and figure out I can't trust Prescott. Maybe I keep that under 35-0 or something. And that I haven't even started the college. Oh my God. All right, so I got to study college. What else? What do I think of Carson Wentz? He sucks. What do I think of Carson Wentz? Why do you bring that up? Who's taking him? What, you going to go to Arizona? Or is he going to the Giants in place of Danny DeVito? He's terrible. You don't win with him. How many times did they have to suck? He sucked at Philly, then he sucked at Indy. At what point do you think he's going to get better? You can't make that judgment on your own. You watched him at Indy suck yesterday. Oh, where's Stenson Benson? Well, they can't win with Rippon, and they did draft Benson, so I don't know it just says he's out with an illness. What is the guy dying? I mean, I'm sorry he's injured. I would have liked to. He'd be the man. He could have played last week, but Stafford hurt his thumb. Must be serious. But I mean, with that coach, he could probably be decent. But just wait till you can draft Bo Nix or Penix or one of these good quarterbacks. I like the Georgia quarterback. He looks pretty good. Oh, Rivers was a very good quarterback. Yeah, he retired a couple of years ago. So how about Peyton Manning? Maybe they can get Drew Brees and Johnny Unitas. Marina Montana, I keep seeing on TV. Maybe he can play. He goes to the Notre Dame games. He goes to the Niner games. It's Joe Montana, man. Get him out there. Get his kid. I mean, somebody, his wife, somebody out there. So again, keep in mind the economy is falling apart, but they won't tell you that. Not that they don't want to scare you. They don't really give a fuck about you. Is that they want to hide their money and get it out before, like in The Big Short, what did they do? Or Margin Call, right? And what did they do? They sold the paper, even though it had no value, to get square. So they got their money in for all this worthless paper. They didn't care about you, so they don't care about you. Keep in mind, the banks run the country, not the other way around. So they don't care about you. So there's massive inflation. I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. How do you answer that question? I haven't even seen him play yet. He's on Texas. He's not even their backup. So I don't know. If he's as bad as Peyton, then yeah, he probably will suck. Peyton was the biggest choke I've ever seen. For the talent he had, he choked. He would choke all the time. He'd win all the easy games, get into the playoffs. Brady would beat him every time. It was a bad coach. He kept giving him the bye. He'd give him the bye, and he'd give him, he'd rest him. We don't want you to get hurt. Go take a week off, then the bye, and then you're supposed to get your rhythm and timing back after sitting out for 3 weeks. Yeah, good luck. How did that go? They never won when they did that. Good coaching, though. But he was healthy. Amazing. Anyway, so keep in mind that we're in a big-time recession already, but they won't tell you that. You have basically a government that's so corrupt. It's insane, but they control the media. The problem is you got unelected people running the government, running the country, and it's mostly these George Soros guys. It's the Gates. It's the Warren Buffets, who are not elected, but they're scamming and doing a bunch of Ponzi schemes. These are the problems, right? Then they got the J.P. Morgans printing the money, then suppressing the gold price. So where there is a chance to escape, they're not even letting you on the boat. There's the gold boat. Well, you can't get on it. Well, we can get on the gold boat, but they're keeping the boat tied at the dock. They're not letting the boat go because then nobody will stay on the Titanic, and we want them all to drown because we're fucked up George Soros. And we want it's like we want the Titanic to sink. So we made sure you couldn't see the iceberg and you hit it, and we're making sure that there's holes in the side so they all rip and all the water comes in and you're sinking. And we won't put enough lifeboats on. It's almost like they wanted it to sink. And that's what you got now. You want the Russians and Chinese want the U.S. to sink, and they're doing everything to sink it. We catch a glimpse of what's happening, and I say the only way to save yourself is to buy gold and silver. That's because I'm smart and I can catch what's going on. I can smell what they're cooking, basically. But most people don't even understand the look. They don't understand that they're printing the dollars to zero. That's it. You're printing them to zero. It's bye-bye. Then you don't have dollars. Now what are you going to do? Well, you need real assets, so you need gold and silver, but good luck buying it when they're 20, 30,000 an ounce and 2,000 or 3,000 an ounce silver. Good luck buying it. And that is the problem. Nobody's going to tell you that. They don't want you buying their gold. They want you in money. They want to make commissions. They can't make commissions off of you if you're in gold and silver. There's no commissions to be made. They can't print it. So they don't want you in it. We don't like it. So we don't want you in it because we can't make any money off of you. We're just fucking sheep to them. You're just fucking idiots who, we'll offer you real estate trust and all the people are going to default. But you're too stupid to see that. And then, we're going to do a Ponzi scheme and we'll have Madoff run it. You're too stupid to see that. You go to the casino and you play slot machines. You're too stupid to realize you can't win there. It takes an intelligence to understand, hey, I'm going to go play poker. They can't fuck me there. They can't control poker like they can control slot machines. So let's learn poker. We go to football, and even that's fucked up with this instant replay. Why is the instant replay they go to commercial for 3 or 4 minutes? Well, was he inbounds? This shouldn't even be a call. It's just, what did the ref call? Inbounds? Fine. I mean, the game's so stupid right now. Well, the whole casino's rigged. I mean, they changed the odds on craps and blackjack, and slot machines they only pay out a certain percent. I think it's like 95% gets paid out, but not more than what they have. So they get $1 million in, they're going to pay out 900,000. So they're going to make 100,000 for every million in or something like that. I mean, they're not. I drove down to Cincinnati. They don't even have, like, some of the casinos were just slot machines. It was racetracks, and they were just slot machines. There was nothing there. It's just a slot machine. You got to be kidding me. So, but that's what you realize. So it takes a real mind like mine to understand your only play is gold. But nobody will fucking tell you that. And then you assume, he's a financial manager. What did I hear in the Big Short meeting? Well, it's Alan Greenspan. You think you're smarter than Alan Greenspan? The guy said that to Batman. And Batman's like, yeah, I am. Why do you think Alan Greenspan's so smart? Even if he is smart, he's not telling you the truth and he's not getting you out of it. So this is what you must realize. The government is not there for you. It's there for them. It's there to fuck you over. It's there to scam you. It's there to tax you. Oh, you were lucky enough to put your money in a CD and you made $500 in interest. You got to add that to your tax. You got to pay taxes on it. Why do I got to pay taxes on that I made money? Well, you made money. Anytime you make money, it's like, fuck you. What are you kidding me? But see, if you're in gold, there is no interest income. It's all yours. As the price goes, you make money. There's no capital gains because nobody knows you have it. That's the beauty of gold. You go with the cash. Here's cash. Give me the gold. Nobody knows I got it. There's no interest income to pay. There really is no 1099 to pay. If I went back to the store today and said, here, I need $2,000, I didn't make any money. No capital gains. But they can do it in stocks because it's reported. Whoever runs I got E-Trade. So whoever runs E-Trade, they report it to the government. Yeah, he made, $5,000 in stocks. So I got to pay $5,000. That report goes to the government, and I got to pay tax on it. But not in gold. See, gold is our little secret that people, because JP Morgan holds the price down, people don't think it moves. They don't think it's a good investment. It's not an investment. It's money. It's better than an investment because in an investment you can lose. In gold, you can't lose. It's a sure thing. And that's what they don't get. TK, you're doing great. Silver and gold are awesome. Tell my sister this. You tell your sister this. Tell her to watch. Tell her to either watch the class or explain it. Say she can stay in paper and watch it go to zero, or you can go to gold and silver where it's impossible to go to silver. I don't know what to tell you. I explain it, almost every day because I know I get new audience and I want to make sure they understand it's the best thing to do. But, you can't lose in it. And yeah, silver's still 25 an ounce or whatever bullshit. But you got to understand it's not real. And that's the illusion that you need to understand. So what are they doing? They keep the price down so you don't get into it. Because they know if you're into it, you're fucked. Well, then it's their loss. They can either watch the class or stay in paper. Who cares? If they disowned you, what do you care if they buy gold and silver then? Yeah, like I said, there's people in the hot tub I can talk to just like this. They won't listen. Or my friend in Florida who sits there and says, I have 2 jobs and, da, 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 da. And I said, well, if you bought gold and silver, you wouldn't need 2 jobs. You wouldn't need 1 job. And in about 2 months, you'll be the richest guy in Florida besides Bobby Bo. And but they don't want to listen. And there's nothing you can do with those people. And I have a friend at the swim, and I gave her 10 ounces of silver because she's into it. So I rewarded her. And she said to me, there's nothing you can do. She said, I used to try to help people too and tell them everything. And they just don't want to hear. So she said, more gold for us is basically what she said is, look, we figured it out. We know to buy it. We don't want everybody to buy it because then there's less gold for us. So she said, I don't care. If they don't want to buy it, then there's more that I can buy. Because very soon there's not going to be any for you to buy, not at these prices. And as soon as Putin gets a hold of it and off goes the BRICS gold-backed currency, and right now the ruble-backed currency, once that goes gold, and he's already doing it with oil, Katie barred the door. It ain't going to stay at that price. No fucking way, because they all know the price is going up, right? The Russias, the Chinas, they got all the gold. They want the price to go up. They know it's going to go up. So they are just buying. They're the ones probably keeping COMEX down at 2,000 an ounce so they can buy more. And they just print their dollars. They print the ruble. They print the yuan. That's why it's inflated. They just keep printing it to nothing and watching the, buying all the gold with it. Oh, here's our bullshit paper. Here's my paper gold. Here, I'll trade you this for gold. Well, this is an eyeglass cleaner. Yeah. Well, what's the difference between this and this? This is worthless. This is probably worth more because it actually cleans my glasses. So this is the problem. People don't get. They'll sit there and say, well, he's a financial planner. I must trust him. or he's a stockbroker, so he knows I'm going to trust him. And that's where the problem is. You're trusting the wrong people. These are not teachers who, first of all, you got to find me. You got to find a teacher who understands Austrian economics, inflation, and gold, right? That's the key. And good luck finding me. Because you got very lucky you found me, because you can't, there's very few schools that have me. Most of them are Keynesians who are going to not going to teach you about gold. And most people, if you ask, go to Merrill Lynch or any of these big banks and say, I want to buy gold, and they'll laugh at you. They'll go, oh, gold doesn't do anything. Why don't you get into look at me at the bank. Why don't you get into an annuity? I can get you 9% on an annuity. What the fuck do I want that for? So you can make commission, and I'm going to get inflated dollars back. So I'm going to give you an annuity. You're going to give me 9%. I'm going to get inflated dollars back that are worthless. And when the bank crumbles, I've lost all my money. Yeah, that was a wise investment, so you can make your commission. That's basically what I told them. I looked at them dead in the eye going, no, I don't want to be in paper. I want to be in gold. And I'm running to the gold store. And that's exactly what I did. And it's just, you just sit there and to quote Bobby, shake my head but this is the problem. And they might not even know about gold. These people are there to make commissions, right? And if you go into the Big Short movie, the two guys in Florida who had no idea what they were doing, saying, oh, I suck at my job. If I don't sell the adjustable rate mortgages, I get $10,000 in commission. I don't care about the people. And they asked them, do the people know that these are adjustable rates and the rates are going to go up? Oh, no, they're just happy to own a house. Yeah, but they're not trying to get scammed. And that's the problem. So there's so much scamming going on. This is the big problem. You don't know who to listen to. This is a problem in most areas in life. Who do you listen to? Who do you understand? And why is nobody in gold? Why is Putin in gold? Why is she in gold? Why do they own 100,000 tons of gold? They must have listened to the right guy. Somebody had to go to Putin and explain gold to him to the point that he understood it, and then he bought 32,000 tons of it. He listened to the right guy. And I know he listened to the right guy based on what he's doing. And the same thing with China. They understand gold's it because you can't print it, and it's a zero risk. So they're taking zero risk with something that can't go to zero. It can't be printed. It's the perfect asset. And nobody here knows. Nobody here understands. It's insane. You just shake your head. Anyway, that's critical. That you've got maybe another month. I'd say Russia takes over BRICS January. Russia needs the ruble backed by gold soon, and Russia's selling oil, and the Saudis are selling oil for gold. How much more time do you got there, fellas? All right. So say you got 2-3 months. Maybe it happens January, maybe February, maybe March. One day you're going to wake up, dollar won't have a value, gold will be 20,000. And then what do you do? Then what do you do? Yeah, I guess I should have bought it at 2. I mean, that's the problem. You have no risk. So what are you worried about? You're not comfortable. You think, oh, I got $100,000 in the bank, so I'm fine, or a couple $100,000 in the bank. My money's safe. It's in the bank. The bank's collapsing. You're going to be able to get your money out. You're not earning interest on it. The money you are earning in interest is getting killed by the inflation anyway. So you don't want money in the bank. So therefore, why are you still in money? Put your money in gold. Now, if gold goes and does what I say, you'll be a multimillionaire in gold, not in paper. Also, and forget that, we're not even doing this to be multimillionaires. We're doing this to survive, to get out of, because our dollars are going to zero. That is what's going to happen to every currency in the history of life. When they don't back it by gold, it goes to zero. All of them. Fact. None of them survive because they can't. Because eventually the corrupt people who run it print too much. And they think, oh, I can. They don't get the concept if I keep printing, it goes to zero. Spain, France, Britain, they all did it, right? Napoleon, he fucked up them. It's happened everywhere. They have the gold. For some reason, they want to go to war. For some reason, they don't understand it. The next thing you know is they take the dollar and off the gold because they want to go to war. See, what gold does is it keeps it limited. There's only so much. You can't print more. You can't fake it. So with this little amount of gold, how do you go to war? Well, the way you do it is to increase the value of the gold. Why is gold, after all this time, still only $2,000 an ounce? Why was it $35 an ounce in 1971? Why was it $20 an ounce? Okay, $20 an ounce in 1920 or in the late 20s makes sense. But and then notice how the governments in the 30s confiscated it. Well, guess who was the Secretary of the Treasurer? It was Keynes. That Keynes guy. What an idiot he was. But Keynes was FDR's finance minister, whatever. So anyway, this is what you've had. I mean, they keep the price down because it's so corrupt. They keep taking new dollars out, new bills. Is it the euro, the dollar, the Swiss franc, whatever. And the government takes it out and keeps printing it. And they think nothing wrong. They don't get the concept. If I hit an iceberg, I'm going to sink. Well, if I keep printing the money, it's going to sink to zero. It happens every time. And once you got a corrupt government, which is everywhere, name one that's not corrupt. George Washington, maybe. They're all corrupt, so they all print the money. And then for some reason, they go to war, which we really don't know the real reason. What are we invading for? Hitler, it was for gold. I mean, he basically went in and stole the gold. That's why he went to war. And everything else is just an excuse, propaganda by Goebbels. And we got our propaganda guy. And that's when you know you're in trouble, is all the propaganda. Once the news is not biased, is all one-sided, and it's all not real or true, you know you're fucked at that point. Because you don't know what's going on. And all we can guess is, that's why I listen to Alligator and McGuire and those guys. It's because we can't get any access to what's reality. So they maybe have something. Egon gives us something from Switzerland, and Alligator gives us something from Britain. But we don't even know. We're not really getting anything from here. That's why I get upset when you hear Rick Rude and these other idiots and Maloney and Andy Scheckman and Bill whatchamacallit. These go shit. They don't tell us anything. I mean, they're just trying to sell gold. Scheckman wants to sell it, and the cowboy guy is a stockbroker. These are salesmen. So they get on there and they know how to talk because they're salesmen. But they don't know what the fuck's going. They don't understand gold and silver, really. They don't understand the dollar's going to zero. If you ever hear them on like Alligator's show or Mark McGuire, that Bill guy had no idea that the inflation was the printing of the dollar. He called it price inflation. They make up things. Price inflation. There's no such in Austrian economics. The only inflation is the dollar. Prices go up and prices go down is the free market. It's Adam Smith. They all want cupcakes or scones or French toast. And so everybody's going to want it. So we raise the price to what the market bears. It's very simple. If you just leave it be simple. So that's really what the whole game is fixed, because they don't understand. So you hire a guy to sell you stocks. He doesn't know what's going on. He's a salesman. And all he does is, look, you get commission, just push the stocks. What was that one, Attack on Wall Street? The guy says, push the growth super fund, real estate trust super fund. That's what you need to push. So you think the stockbroker's sitting there going, shouldn't I do gold? Shouldn't I help the people? Aren't these our customers? No, it's all about me. I'm running the company. You push the super fund. And nowhere is it said about gold. I mean, it's just it's so corrupt and it's so incompetent. It's like the Miami, Florida coach not taking a knee. That's about what you have with gold. They're so stupid. It's not planned. It's all part of the game where we're gonna sell things. Commit gold. No, we don't get commission. Don't sell it. I think it's as simple as that. So the guys they bring in, they push, you sell stocks or the growth fund or real estate trust or bonds or something. That's what you sell. And you get good commission on it. And we make good commission. So it's all part of this game where they don't know what to they don't know what to do. They don't know anything about gold. Where would they be taught that? I got lucky at my master's program to be taught it. That's why I'm here telling you. Where are you going to find it? You've got to get an Austrian economics class. Where are you going to find it? You go on fucking Google or anything. Go on YouTube. Good luck there. These people are, nobody can explain it. You try to understand inflation. It's prices going. You go on Google. What's inflation? Prices going up. What's economics? Well, there's classical, there's MMT, and there's Austrian, and but nobody likes Austrian. It's been proven wrong. It's not been proven wrong. It's the only thing that is right. What's Keynesian economics? They can't, it's just you're listening to the corrupt government put these bad definitions out there that say Austrian economics is no good, so you don't even want to learn it. And then you'll never learn about gold. And you'll be penniless and a slave the whole time. What kind of government? This is so fucked up. Wants everybody that doesn't want people to prosper, that wants to enslave people. What is that? That's called the George Soros Nazi government. That's what it is. That's how I recognize it, is that they don't want you to get ahead. They don't tell you. You know who tells you about gold? China. China tells you about gold, right? They want their citizens to buy gold. You can buy it, and now I don't know if they're going to be corrupt and take the gold, and so it's in your account, and then they steal it from you. That could be too, but I think they just want to own all the gold, or as much as they can. China and Russia, they get it, but we don't get it here. We get sell, get your commission, sell stocks, sell bonds. So. People like me walk around, go buy gold, and everybody looks at me like you're out of your mind because they don't even understand it. And I called my broker, and he said that no, I shouldn't be in gold. Who's smarter, me or your broker? Well, he's a broker. He wouldn't lie to me. He's just in it for the commissions. That's like the Madoff going, well, the Madoff scam was don't ask me. So if you ask me, I don't want your money. And it's going to make you 15%. So nobody asked. They were just interested in the 15%. So did they know it's a scam? Probably. But again, instead of them buying gold, what did they do? They trusted Madoff would make them money. Oh, I'm going to invest in Madoff. He'll make me money. I mean, that's the problem. No, you should run your own. You should be your own bank. How am I going to make money? Buying gold and silver. I'll buy gold and silver. I'll make my own money. I don't need to listen to anybody, but I had to learn it first. So I'm giving you that opportunity of probably maybe one of 10 places, and certainly in America, one of 5 places you can actually learn what the hell is really going on, which is this. Right? I try to walk you through the psychology of football and how to pick that. And it's the same thing here. There's maybe 5 people that understand really what's going. Because there's very few that even understand what inflation is. And Alligator kind of gets it, but sometimes he doesn't. And Egon, I think, gets it. But yeah, when you look at it, there's no other dollar to be in. You got to be in gold because you got to get out of the dollar. But they kind of lose track that there's going to be this whole what do you call it? This whole frenzy of getting out of the dollar into gold, which is what's going to push the gold price up. But outside of that, it's just insane with what's going on. But again, don't forget the markets are controlled by us at this point. If steaks are too expensive, we don't buy a steak. If they sit on the counter too long, they lower the price. Like I said yesterday at the gas station with the chocolate pie, it's $1. They marked it up to $1.79. Now it's back to $1. I says, oh, I guess you couldn't sell it. Oh no, we were selling it. Really? So you were selling it, and if you were selling it at $1.79, why is it $1 now? No, because you couldn't sell it at $1.79 because it's normally been $1. It's just a little chocolate pie, and if you can't sell it for $1.79 because you've been selling it at $1, you put the price back to $1 because you couldn't sell it. And that's my point with the ribs, with the barbecue. If you can't sell it at you've got it in our minds at $25, $26. We'll go 28. We'll go up $1 or $2. But we're not going to go to $45 for slabs because there's the pie. The pie's set at $1. Even though it's $1.75 and we know it's the dollar that's going down in value, it's still only $1. That's what we'll pay for it. That's what you've set the market at. So when they try to sell it for $1.79, nice increase, and nobody buys it, they go back to the dollar because they know they can sell it there. And the same thing with the ribs. If he tries to go to 45, nobody will buy it. They'll go, I'm 25, which is what I'm trying to tell. You program us at certain prices. The key, though, is since the dollar's losing value, you don't get that either. I mean, things that cost $3, it's really like 50 cents. But in your mind, you're so warped that you're willing that you normally would pay, like let's say a 2-liter of Coke, you'd pay what, $1.59. They went up to $1.99. You go, okay, I'll pay $1.99. You're programmed to pay $1.99 for a 2-liter at Kroger's. Now it's $2.99. You're not programmed for that. Now, even though the money is worthless and you're really paying 25 cents for the Coke, in your mind, it's still $1.99. You're not programmed the inflation in. So you don't know. Like, I know this is worth basically 1 cent, right? This dollar's worth now 1 cent. This $5 euro is now worth, let's say, 10 cents. That's what this is worth, 10 cents. But since it has a 5 on it, you think it's still worth $5. The problem is, what does the $5 buy now? Well, go buy a Diet Coke bottle in Europe, and it's probably 4 or 5 euros for a little 8-ounce bottle of Coke. Good luck, but that's what it buys. But you don't put 2 and 2 together. You're not trained to do that. You're not trained. You see a $5 bill, you think it's worth $5. It isn't. It's worth, well, if $1 is worth a penny, then the $5 is worth 5 pennies. But that's what you can't connect the dots to, and that's what it is. But that's really where the psychology takes over. So when you're making 9% in an annuity, it's like 9% of what? Oh, 10 grand. Well, that's like maybe $1,000, and I get 9%, which is really 2%. And we've got 20% inflation, but you're going to lie to me and say, well, really, inflation is 3%. We're not even measuring it right. We're measuring it on prices, not how much money we're printing. And so you get all these Keynesians who come out and say, no, the prices are down, the inflation's gone. Bullshit, the inflation's gone. The inflation's never gone when it's based on printing the dollars, because they're not going to stop printing because they got 35 trillion in debt. So we're fucked. It's all done. It's all over. So you can either pretend to agree or disagree or just ignore it and go, no, I'm comfortable. I can't part with my money. Just like the pie's $1. I can't pay $1.75, even though that's like 25 cents for the pie. I can't pay that because I'm used to paying $1. So I think this is what people are caught up in. I can't, the dollar's worth the dollar, my 100,000 to me is worth 100,000. And I try to say, no, it's worth like, it's worth 1% of that. It's worth 10,000 maybe. If it's worth 1,000, that's all it's worth. But you see 100,000, you see a stack of money and you go, oh, this is great. Well, in Germany in 1920, what did they do with their money? They wallpapered they took a wheelbarrow to buy milk and bread. That's because it lost its value. And that's it. And that's about as clean as I can explain it with no prejudice. You're not paying me. I'm not making commission off of you to lie. So it must be the truth. And that's really where, 90% of my money is in gold and silver. 90%. 0% in stocks, 0% in bonds, and $1,000 in the bank because I got I paid rent, and so I'm just got to make some other bills, right? That's it. I got a couple of girls I got to help with rent and food and stuff. That's it. There's nothing else. So that's really what you need to understand, the philosophy and psychology of what's going on. And it'll never go away because of the money. Now, my friend said, well, what'll happen? We're all going to have gold. I said, well, I'll have gold money. It'll be like this with a little, this will say gold back or gold, like they're silver certificates. They'll be gold certificates. So this will be worth $5 of gold or whatever, 5 gold, whatever the value, because it won't be in dollars. And that's what they'll do. That's what they used to do. And then they got off of it because they didn't want to back it with gold and silver. Well, guess what? We're going back. As McGuire said in the last one, well, we have now, Nixon took us off in 71. We have now gone the full cycle, and we are now back on the gold standard. It's the only thing people can trust because you can't fuck it. There's zero risk. You can't print it because there's no printing. It's you dig it out of the ground and that's it. You can't print and copy it. So it's it. It's very limited. Everybody likes it. It's very pretty. Go buy an ounce of gold, and it's a great feeling. So you ever want to get cheered up, go buy some gold or silver, and that'll cheer you up. Even when I buy 10 ounces of silver, it's not as exciting as buying an ounce of gold, but it helps. So anyway, that's what you got to do. What else? You understand markets. You understand things that aren't electric cars. Nobody wants. So why would you make it? Why would you invest in stocks in a company that is selling a product nobody wants, basically? So keep in mind, it's got to work the other way. You've got to want something. I want ribs. I'm going to a restaurant that sells it. You can't have a restaurant that sells ribs if nobody wants the ribs, right? And that's what you got to understand there. Now I'm getting hungry for ribs. But that's really it. We determine what we want, and then somebody sells it. You can't go out of order. You shouldn't make investments because the interest rates are zero unless they're good investments. Am I gonna, I'm gonna sell baseball cards? Well, there's no demand for it. I was looking on eBay I've been going through my cards, and all the Jordans keep their value, but some of the cards have gone down. Like the Ken Griffey Jr. rookies, The upper deck's good, but the rest of them they used to be worth $300-400 are now not worth it. I'm looking at PSA 10s. And I think what's happening is people are getting their money out and they're not investing in cards. They're just keeping their money. They're not spending it. And I think it's because they don't realize these are assets. And this card will be priced in. See, people can't connect the dots. This will go from, let's say it's $1,000 to a quarter ounce of gold. They don't comprehend this gets priced in gold. This is the missing link right now. People think oh my God, we don't want gold to go up because the dollar will go out. But then it'll come back where gold will be the medium of exchange. And then things get priced in gold. And this is what they're having a difficult time seeing. But I see it because there's always a medium of exchange. Where did this come from? All of a sudden they start printing euro. Where did it come from? Because this way I can go out to eat and pay a cab driver and buy clothes and buy food. I need something to do it. So you want to go digital? Well, you still need money to do digital. I mean, it's the same thing. Okay, so now I'm going to dinner with digital dollars. I don't see what changed. Oh, the government will control us. They'll know what we're doing. They're probably looking at my credit card now going, he went to dinner. I don't believe they're doing that with small items anyway. I think it's over 500-600 or 1,000 or something like that. But that's what you have. Is things like that. So just be careful there. But it's a lot of psychological. But again, you don't know something. You go to you have your foot's bothering you. You go to the doctor, and he says this is what you got. You don't know if that's what you got or not, but you believe him. And just be careful, because the point of a stockbroker and a financial planner is not for you to make money. It's for them to make money. So if you understand the game, I love how the game fits everything. If you understand the game, that he's in it for the commission, that's all you have. No, I don't lift weights. Never lifted weights. So you understand that they're in it for their commission, for them, not for you. Once you realize that, then you gotta learn it. And I'm giving you this education that you can't find anywhere else. Good luck finding an Austrian economist who understands gold and inflation, what it really is. And the only one will be my teacher from 1994 at my college. And then maybe some of the classmates got it, maybe they didn't. I remember I went on an interview and I said to the guy, he was in Ann Arbor, and I said, he had gone to Walsh College. And I said, oh, I went there. Do you know Professor Verizon? And he says, yeah. I says, wasn't he the greatest? And the guy said, I didn't think so. And and if you didn't think that guy was one of the best teachers I've ever had, I don't think I want to work for you. I mean, this is the problem for me working. No, I don't think they still teach it. That's the problem. I go to work now with such a high skill set. I know what's going on, right? Gold and everything, and the markets. And I go there, and these people are so stupid. They don't have a fucking clue. And it frustrates me when I make a comment about gold and they don't listen to me. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't want to even work for them, because they're too stupid. Well, if you don't know about gold, what are you gonna have me do? So that's really the problem. So it does get difficult to talk about gold at work because these people are so stupid, they don't get it. Until now. That's why I just can't wait for the price to go up. I don't have to deal with these morons anymore. That's what they are. They especially at work. Work's such a strange dynamic where people think they're better than you, or smarter than you or went to Harvard or whatever, and you just want to like shake your head and throw up on them and beat the hell out of them. You're like, what the fuck? You are so stupid. But they think they know because they got a Harvard education that they know what's going on. But anyway, I think I'm going to have dinner. It's been 3 hours. So again, tonight, we got Ball State, Northern Illinois. Ball State's the Z team. Northern Illinois is the under. It's 9-43. Central, Michigan, Western Michigan. They're both over teams, over under 57. It's pretty mild out today. And then Ohio and Buffalo. Ohio minus 744. Ohio's an under team, very strong under team. They play a lot of under games. And Buffalo is the E team. So good luck on the games today. If you're going to bet back, good luck. But we will see. Anyway, I think that's it. Just a little tired. I was up late watching that movie and going through my baseball cards. So it's weird. I have certain cards in frames because they add a certain value. And I'm going through it, and the regular cards are losing value. The inserts are going up in value, which they should. Like if this is a regular card, well, like this one, his regular card is not worth much. But when you look at it it's out of 100, then it becomes worth a lot more. So it's all the cards like this that are worth a lot, and the regular cards don't have much value, which I think is just temporary because of what's going on. People are just holding on to their money, not investing in baseball cards, which is an asset. So if this card's worth $1,000, it'll then get priced in gold. It's Mahomes, it's 50 count, and that's where it should be heading to. Especially as good as he is. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be hard for them to win the Super Bowl. They don't have the offense. And between Cincinnati and Denver and it would have been the Jets if they get Aaron Rodgers back. It's basically those two, Cincinnati and Denver, and the Jets would have been the third. But Cincinnati and Denver are probably going to be in a championship game because Denver's already beat KC once, and their record isn't that good now. But wait, they're cooking, and when they knock off Baltimore, I think they got Baltimore. They got Buffalo. When they knock off Buffalo, Buffalo's not that good this year. They already got a couple of losses. The question I have, if I go back to this, but it all ties into economics. If I go into this, because this is all supply and demand too. The line moves based on the market. Is there demand for the game? There's no demand for the Giants, so they make the Dallas spread 16. Going, well, we're not going to get anybody to bet on it. We got to make a high enough number to get bets on the Giants. How do we do that with Danny DeVito as the quarterback? In my mind, it would be 21. You need a 21 point to get interest on the Giants. You would get bets on the Giants at 21. But that's what this is. This is like the stock market. Who do I bet on? If you buy a stock, why do you buy a stock? Well, they make money. Why are you buying Tesla? He's not going to make money. That's the clear argument. So this is just an auction. Who do I bet? Supply and demand. Do I take Cincinnati or Houston minus 6.5? So they put a line in that's supposed to get equal demand. Get as much on Cincy as on Houston. They failed here at 6.5. I think they needed to go to 7.5 to do that. And that's where I come in and say, you got the Lions 1.5 over San Diego. Who the fuck's betting the Lions in this place? And then if you got a teaser guy like me, it's easy. Oh, I'll take 7.5 all day. That's why I'm shocked it's still 1.5. I thought it would be San Diego. I thought San Diego would be favored this morning after the way they handled the Jets. Now think about it. They put up 27 and dominated the Jet defense. What are you going to do to the Lion defense? The Lion defense is nowhere near as good as the Jet defense. So they're going to put up a 30 easily on that. But anyway, that's kind of what you look at. That's the whole thing. Why am I betting on it? Well, let's look at their offense. Look at their defense. How's their quarterback? How about the injuries? How good's the coach? Looking for reasons to bet the teams. We get fooled. Oh, I thought Seattle would handle Baltimore better. I thought they could win. And then we got Philly and Dallas over, we hit, or Cincinnati over Buffalo, we hit. So that's the rationale and judgment. It all comes back to economics. It's all supply and demand and getting the price. So getting the pie at $1 because you're not going to pay $1.75 for it. It's too expensive. And that's really what it is, right? That's the whole point. Is you got to set the price that so supply and demand, I have the supply. I've got to come up with a price that people will buy it for. If I make this $1,000, nobody's going to buy it. So I hear that with gasoline. Oh, gas is going to be $10 a gallon. I go, why isn't it now? Because they can't sell it at $10 a gallon. That's the point. If they could, they would. There's no reason gas is not $10 a gallon, except there's no demand at $10 a gallon. You can't play the game at 10. Like in Michigan, it's like $3.20, $3.30 for gas. And that's what we'll pay for it. And you can't start making it 25. If you could make it $25 a gallon, they would. And it's still very cheap based on the inflation. $3 is like 60 cents for gas in theory. If we go back to 71, when the gold was $35 and now it's 2000, gas was, I think, 59 cents or something back then. I remember that. And for $3, that's very cheap for gas. In reality, yeah, it is. But that's the thing. You got to get into what the dollar's really worth. And it's worth what it buys. It's not worth the 5. It's not worth the 5. That's not what this euro is worth. It's worth, what does this buy? And that is the inflation. It doesn't buy as much because the inflation is you've printed too much. You've inflated the amount. Supply goes up, price goes down, the value goes down because supply goes up. So if you print 1 billion of them, you have 1.5 billion, but they're not worth as much because you printed too many. And you broke the bloody ship, as they say. So that's really what happens. So I try to be as clear as possible, not ring fence and all the shit Mark McGuire talks about. Like, I don't know. Doesn't he not get it that people don't know what the fuck he's saying when he says the ring fence and this and that? Does he not understand that people are like, what the fuck's a ring fence? Why are you talking British banking? How many people in your audience are British bankers? But I don't think they understand that the level of people in the audience like me who understands perfectly what he's trying to say. But I don't know who he thinks he's talking to. It's just British bankers in his audience that would understand ring fence. So I don't know. Anyway, so I think that's it. It's 4:40, time to eat. I got to run to the grocery store and nibble on something, but I think I'll have a salad right now to tide me over until. Oh God, now I want ribs so bad. Maybe tomorrow. All right, www.teaserking.com. I put out a huge lock already. I think it's a 31 or 35 unit lock right away. As soon as I saw it, it was like Kansas last week. Kansas is a dog. Thank you. I think I had him in a 27 unit lock and a 25 unit lock. This is a 30-something unit lock. Very strong lock. So that's out there now. Should be another huge week. Last week was very huge. The Kansas double lock hits. Alabama over, USC over, so I hit a lot. But again, I'm not going to go 12-0. I mean, I don't know why people would think that. Yes, I have a very strong understanding of it. And every pick I pick, I expect to win, but I know realistically I'm not. Things happen, and you don't always get the win. Like Ohio State under, they go for it at their own 15 and don't make it, and Ohio State scores to kill my under. Like, what the fuck was that? So it happens, but you understand that's part of the game, and if you lost because of that, you understand it. The question you got to ask, was it a good bet? Yes, it was. 2 under low-scoring teams playing. So that's all you can do. So if the bet makes sense, you bet it. Alabama, LSU, I bet over, it went over. Okay, I bet it over, it went over. Oregon, Cal, I bet over, it went over. So was it a good bet? Yes. Did it win? Yes. Sometimes it wins, and sometimes it doesn't. Like Stanford, Washington State didn't go over. Should have went over. They played a 10-7 game. That's your first quarter score, not the end of the game. How do you hold Washington State to 7 points with Stanford's defense? So it's really just scratching your head. And that's all you can really do. But you found it. You find their overs. You look at the point. You've come up with your rationale, and off you go. And that's all you can do is bet it. But it sure beats sitting there playing slot machines or betting on real estate trust or betting on stocks that have no chance of going up with huge risk. And again, they don't want you to win. They just want your commission. I love how the one guy, John Hurt, says, well, in Attack on Wall Street, he goes, well, that's what they do. When they win, they're not complaining. And when they lose, dude, this is a fixed thing you did. Don't bullshit their way like they took a risk. Like they made a bet on an even thing. They didn't. This is fixed. You can't compare. People lost because you fixed it, you asshole. That's not the same as that. But that's why I say to buy gold, you're not taking risks. There is no risk. All right. I'm going to go www.teaserking.com. I'll see you about the same time tomorrow, right at about 1:30. I've been kind of going to the pool at 10:30 instead of 10, and I'm not in a rush and then do this. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. Huge lot going this week. Highly recommend it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.